yesterday that he's not going to be the offensive coordinator at Grambling. So a wild story on that front in the world of college football. When we come back, we'll get into the Nashville Predators. Preds fans, how do you feel about David Poyle now at the helm 1 year later from the brink? Well, we were talking about this time last year. We'll get to that coming up on the other side. This is Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Middle Tennessee, you can count on an award-winning service team for all your home maintenance and improvement needs. Lee Company, we're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau and trusted by thousands of homeowners in our community. Our team is ready to assist with all your home maintenance projects, heating and air conditioning, plumbing, electrical, appliance service, and more. Experience the convenience of calling one phone number for all your home maintenance needs. Call Lee Company today at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
It was just so sparkly and just white. It's just the purest diamond.
That's Mallory Irvin, Miss America runner-up and 3-time contestant on The Amazing Race, talking about her ring from Genesis Diamonds.
It's my favorite thing I've ever owned in my life, and probably my favorite thing I ever will own unless I get another ring from Genesis.
Mallory has a stunning GIA certified diamond in a setting that Genesis custom designed just for her.
It was a personalized experience, and they really went above and beyond to make what we wanted to work.
At Genesis, unique rings are our specialty.
What's really awesome about Genesis, I think a lot of girls look at other girls' rings a lot, and you don't want the same ring as the girl sitting beside on an airplane or something. It's really awesome because Genesis has the designers I feel that women want.
Names like Henry Dossi, Viraggio, Tocori, and dozens more.
So you don't get that cookie cutter kind of chain store. My ring is beautiful, but it looks like everyone else's. You get an engagement ring that's one of a kind.
Genesis diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes.
I highly recommend Genesis.
Green Hills and Cool Springs.
They're going to be our jewelers for life.
Hey everybody, Robby Stanley here to tell you about my friends at Jasper's as the neighborhood bar and restaurant to catch the next Preds game. Jasper's is located on West End Avenue and offers a fun atmosphere with a game room, TVs, and a large bar and lounge area. Plus they offer free parking. That's right, free parking on West End, and offer specials for every Preds game day, including $10 smash burgers and $3 bottle domestics. So come on down to Jasper's next game day for happy hour every weekday from 4 to 6 p.m. and 2-for-1 beers all day on Sundays. Just tell them that Robby Stanley sent you.
Since their doors opened in 1898 in England, Arkansas, Bank of England Mortgage has been providing down-home exceptional service. Bank of England's success is due to the talent of their loan officers and their access to hundreds of mortgage products at the industry's best pricing. Bank of England Mortgage has 3 Middle Tennessee locations ready to serve you. Go to BOE1214.com or call 615-823-1215. Bank of England Mortgage is a division of Bank of England Mortgage. Equal housing lender, member FDIC, NMLS 418-481.
Is your job leaving you just over broke and out of hope? Maybe this is your year to get into IT. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. You can start your new life in months, not years. Best of all, we've slashed tuition, and financial aid is available to those who qualify. Attend classes day or night, live online from the comfort of your home. Go to My Computer Career and fill out the free career evaluation. It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
Wednesday night, going high off the glass is Cameron Weston. The Blue Raiders hit the road to take on Charlotte. Coverage begins at 5:30
on ESPN
94.9 and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Paul Feinbaum and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game, brought to you by Little Guys Movers. Here's your chance to be your own boss. Join their team of 30-plus years of profits and good times. Visit littleguysfranchise.com. We are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. We are live from the Hillside Medical Game Studio on this Tuesday morning, taking your thoughts on our text line. Mark from Paris on the text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Do you guys think that the NFL will give Gruden a second chance? I used to like Gruden, but after those emails came out, I'm very disappointed and disgusted. This coming from our friend Mark from Paris. What do you think about that, Rexrode? Do you think Gruden ever gets a second chance?
It's a good question, and I don't know. But like, again, like that, like, let's compare the situations. You know, this goes back to like last week talking about like the tweets from the photographer. Now, granted, you're talking about the leader of an organization. Some horrible stuff in those emails. But to me, like, that doesn't compare to like the Bryles situation.
Yep.
You know, the Bryles Baylor situation was just, I don't even know how best to characterize it. Disgusting for sure, but like that was way beyond like someone saying or sending offensive material. This was like, again, actively, involving yourself in investigations.
Yeah.
I mean, and trying to interfere, which is, think about that. I've never heard, there's been a lot of, look, there's Title IX lawsuits. There have been a lot of situations of various programs, including Tennessee, Michigan State, Penn. There's a lot of different investigations at Title IX that are kind of similar. None of them, and again, even go to the Penn State thing. That's its own separate thing, and that was awful. Jerry Sandusky and Joe, but the Baylor thing is different. It's different than all of them, because you actually have, you have accounts of the head coach, getting involved in stuff that should never be considered, and in those other places it was not. So then you're going to compare it to a Gruden situation. I don't know with Gruden. That'll be interesting, but to me, there should certainly be a path there before there's a path for Bryles.
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure. Joe, the Preds back in action tomorrow, coming up against the Seattle Kraken. They're on the road this week, going to Seattle tomorrow. They'll take on San Jose coming up on Saturday night. I think back to this time a year ago, and it was a little bit earlier, probably mid-February last year, the conversation around David Poile and the Predators. The Predators were struggling. They looked like they were going to be one of the worst teams in the league. And, of course, we know what happened. They turned things around. They started to play much better. UC Saros had like a .940 save percentage coming down the stretch, and they end up making the playoffs. But the noise got pretty loud from Preds fans on David Poile last year. And there's a lot of talk about his job status. Can you trust David Poile to do the rebuild that we thought was coming? All these different things that were talked about with David Poile. You fast forward to a year later, the Preds are not in a rebuild at this point. They're in a playoff spot right now. Obviously, we'll get to the Forsberg part of this that could change the picture as they move forward here. But the Predators have overachieved by virtually everyone's expectations this year. And David Poile made some moves this offseason to get rid of Ryan Ellis, to get rid of Victor Arvidsson, to make this team younger. He protected Tanner Jeannot. And now the team sits here in a playoff spot as of today and kind of still fighting for the top three in the Central Division as well. So how do you think that Preds fans have changed on David Poile? Do you think Preds fans have changed their outlook on David Poile? And what's your sense on the credit that Poile deserves to what we're seeing right now from the Predators as they try to forecast forward here? We've talked a lot about John Hines and the identity of this team and the way that they play and all these different things. How much credit does Poile deserve from what we've seen in your mind?
Yeah, it's kind of amazing to think back a year, really, right? About a year, when it just before last season's team turned around and got to the playoffs, and you start to see, okay, look at the young guys, look at some of these pieces that are actually kind of promising, and look at how Saros is playing, all that stuff. At that point a year ago, well, first of all, there was, I remember we talked many times about the whole, the fire Hines thing, which again, to me, I said it many times, like, you cannot possibly, and I know it's the NHL, so I guess you can, but like the idea that you would quickly just move on and fire this coach that Poile just moved when Poile's been here forever. Like, if you look at someone to fire, it's got to be Poile, right? And of course that got into the whole, who would do that? Who speaks for the ownership group and all these things. So to me, it's changed a ton in a year. They're good. So yeah, they're good. And he's gone on a run. Look, he had a run of moves. Like, he had a heck of talk about the gambler's fallacy there earlier with the listener on Twitter. It's like you get hot, you get cold at the table. Poile had gone on a run of moves that really had either not worked out or just been disastrously bad.
Yeah.
And it's funny because you can also kind of tie that to, I mean, obviously the Subban move worked, but then successive moves to go for it, right? The go for it moves were not working at all. And you kind of look at the Titans, kind of that situation too, after getting to the AFC title game. So he was on a heck of a run, and now he's on a run of some good moves. I mean, not across the board, but so I don't know if that means is he a streaky GM? I don't know. Is he like Philip Forsberg? Gets hot, gets cold. But I do know that I think he's settled things down. What does the Predators? I think you still have to think like long term. Like, at some point he's probably going to retire pretty soon, right? I would think. I don't know that for sure, but I would think he would be retiring pretty soon. What does that mean for the future of the franchise? But the whole like Poyle's got to go. He's like the game's passing by. He can't make any more good moves. I mean, that's been totally quieted because he's been making some good moves.
Well, it's interesting to think about this because those two moves specifically that I brought up this past summer, Victor Arvidsson being traded to L.A., Ryan Ellis being traded to Philly. Like, so far, the return from what you've gotten for Ryan Ellis has not been good. Like, Philip Myers, to me, he's a seventh D-man in the NHL at best right now, and quite frankly, it's not been good to watch out there most of the time with Philip Myers. So the return on him has not been great. And Cody Glass, which was really the centerpiece of that deal you got back, has barely played for you. And, he's playing well in Milwaukee right now, but you didn't get Cody Glass back to play well in Milwaukee. I mean, you want him to be a big part of your team as you move forward here. So the return itself really has not helped the Predators all that much to this point. Now, I will say, just getting that Ellis contract out from underneath you looks like that's going to be a pretty good move for the Predators. Ellis has played 4 games this year, and Philadelphia has completely shut him down. So he's played a grand total of 4 games for the Philadelphia Flyers. So that part of it looks great. It's just interesting because those are the 2 big moves he made this offseason, and right now, like tangibly on the ice, you don't really have anything to show for it if you're the Predators. They just have gotten a lot better. They've gotten younger, and some guys that he drafted years ago, like your Carriers and your Genots, which he wasn't drafted. He was picked up as an undrafted free agent. Some of the moves you've made to get younger have worked out for you, and now some of the longer-term deals, like Matt Duchene, that you were getting crushed for last year, they're playing much better. So I think people's viewpoint on that is different. But it is interesting, like the 2 big moves he made this past offseason in terms of the trades, the return on that really hasn't done anything for this team other than free up some cap space, which I think could be big as they move forward here.
Yeah, but they're timely. The positive is that you got rid of the negative.
For sure. Like I'm not saying that as a criticism of Poyle. I'm just saying, like, usually when you talk about a trade helping you, it's because a return has come back the other way and it's helped you. And really, It's not happened. Just you don't have those. You're not paying those 2 guys anymore.
Yeah, and look, some of this is Poyle is just like everybody else. Like, hey, Matt Duchene, is he going to be good? Please be good, Matt Duchene. Yeah. That's the thing. I mean, so right now, like that move before this season was just the latest in a long line of, oh, what did you do? Now, even though, of course, everybody hearing this now is like, yes, you have to do this.
Yeah.
But it was the latest. It was part of the streak. That was part of the streak of bad moves, and now it's no longer part of the streak of bad moves. I don't know I don't know what it is, but all I know is Matt Duchene's having a heck of a year, and he's earning the salary this year that you gave him.
Well, that's the thing. Like with those 2 guys, like how do Predators fans feel about those 2 guys right now? Because that's I think to me a big part of how you feel about Poyle is like those 2 gigantic contracts. How do you feel about them? Because I mean, there are still some that say, yeah, it's great that they're playing well right now. They're still not worth the contract that they've been paid. So what do you do about that as you move forward here? I don't know. I mean, to me, if this is the version of Matt Duchene you're going to get for the next couple of years, then I'm cool with it. Keep on going, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, if Matt Duchene gets like 35 goals this year, I mean, it's not far off from what he's getting paid. I mean, now you got to, you hope he does it next year, but
sure,
in this given year, yeah, that's pretty close. And Johansson, that's another thing with Johansson. It's like first of all, you always have the, who won the trade? Well, it was a good trade. Okay, I mean, come on. Like, that's already been established. Like, all things that have happened but way before this, to me, have already, like, it's over. The scoreboard is, you can like, verify the score sheet. Okay. It was already a good trade.
Yeah.
And you can look at him and say, maybe that's not quite $8 million a player, but I still say he plays the way he's played this year.
You'll take it.
It's not like last year. Yes, with both of them, it's like, this is such a drain for so little return. But that's not the case anymore. And so, yeah, those two guys and how they have played this year, how they respond in the offseason, that's a big part of a different viewpoint on Poyle.
Preds fans, how do you view David Poyle now that the Predators are in a playoff spot? Their trajectory appears to be moving upward. We'll get a lot of your thoughts to get to on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 1025 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Seasonal start for us this morning with temperatures in the middle 30s. A lot of sunshine back today and a warmer day with highs heading to the middle and upper 60s.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
The Regions Riding Forward Scholarship Contest celebrates stories of inspirational Black Americans. Tell us about a Black American who's inspired you, and you could earn a $3,500 or $5,000 college scholarship. Enter by March 31st, 2022 at regions.com/ridingforward. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. Open only to certain high school and college students in states with Regions full service branches. Complete eligibility requirements, contest details, and official rules available at regions.com/ridingforward. Contest sponsor Regions Bank. Member FDIC.
Cutting the price of your wireless bill feels good. Really good. Actually, it feels great. You should try it out. So cut your bill by switching to Straight Talk Wireless, now offering our $45 Silver Unlimited plan with 5 gigabytes of hotspot and nationwide 5G on America's largest, most dependable networks. The $45 Silver Unlimited plan from Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
A month equals 30 days. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Dashboard light problems? We can help. Our free Fix Finder service can read your check engine light, ABS light, and service indicator light, and give you possible solutions, verified by licensed technicians. You'll even get detailed results sent straight to your email so you have them when you need it most. It's the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes. The free Fix Finder service, only at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
More details at AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Starting trouble. No one likes that. We'll get you set up for some stronger starts. You might just need a fresh charge, and we'll take care of that free of charge. But if it is time for a new battery, we've got replacement batteries that'll fit your needs, starting at just $69.99. You can learn more about our battery selection at AutoZone.com. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2021.
It's time. Time to get in shape. Hit the gym. Work up a sweat. You're going to need some energy. A lot of energy. A 5-hour energy. With vitamins and essential nutrients, they provide an alert, energized feeling that keeps you going. All without sugar or herbal stimulants. Are you ready? 5-hour energy. For every workout. For more information, visit 5hourenergy.com.
So, what is Jared Stillman gonna say this afternoon?
You got to play if you want to earn $14.6 million next year.
Oh, brother, here we go.
But I'm done on investing money in dudes that can't get on the field.
Tune in to Stillman and Company, weekday afternoons from 2 to 6.
This is some serious stuff right here.
Delivered by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Watch live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube.
Robby and Rexrode is on ESPN 1025 The Game.
Preds fans, join us for Smashville Live this Wednesday on 1025 The Game. The show will air on Wednesdays during the Preds season from 6 to 7 p.m., featuring Preds players, former players, and other special guests. You can watch the show via 1025 The Game's Twitch, Facebook page, YouTube, and Twitter. So be sure to join us this hockey season for Smashville Live, brought to you by New Amsterdam Vodka, Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, and Red Spirits and Wine in Bellevue. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. Talking Preds, what are your thoughts on the job that David Poile has done? We'll take your thoughts on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. William from Dover texting in says, I feel like Poile does a good job of trading players right before they fall off. Weber, Subban, Ellis, Arvey all look like good timing. This is coming from William from Dover. It is kind of amazing. I was thinking about that the other day and talking about that with somebody in the press box of, some of these trades that you've made if you're David Poile. Yeah, a lot of them haven't worked out when you're trying to add. But when you are trading off some of these players, they have worked out timing-wise where, Ellis has been out for the whole year this year pretty much. Arvidsson's playing okay out there in L.A. Shea Weber and the injury problems that he's had. It is kind of amazing the timing on some of these trades.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, that's the part of the Duchesne trade that, you just – who cares when Duchesne is, and I know it's not a trade, but we all knew. I mean, shoot, I remember you and I talking during that postseason. Well, like you knew what was going to happen. They were going to move Subban. They were going to clear the space. They were going to go after Duchesne, right? The fact that Duchesne was not working out kind of overshadowed, as it should have, but overshadowed the fact that it was perfectly timed on the Subban situation with his health breaking down. So that's a good point. Now, he's also brought in some guys who, in the last few years who have not come close to what they were supposed to be, what he thought they were. And, he's still paying for Kyle Turris to not be here for the next few years. Let's not forget that. It's $2 million a year off the, that you got to pay each year for Kyle Turris to not play for you. And obviously it's also been, like Ryan Hartman, for example. I don't know why it didn't work out here at all. There was just so little. There were a few stretches with him that were okay, but, better player before and after here.
Well, it was the price too, right? To go get Ryan Hartman. Like, you're giving up a first rounder for Ryan Hartman. Now, again, Ryan Hartman this year has 37 points in 50 games, 19 goals, 18 assists. Like, if that was the player that he was, if he was the player here that he is right now in Minnesota, like, you'd take that all day. I don't mind getting a first-round pick for that.
Well, Ryan Hartman, he was supposed to be, because, he'd had a 20-goal season with the Blackhawks, and he was supposed to be the kind of the agitator with skill idea, right? And he was an agitator.
Didn't display
he did
much
that. He pissed people off.
He was skilled at agitating people. Team. Yes.
Yes. But then again, it was just like this run of, man, and all the moves in 2019, the net front presence moves. Just anybody, please, someone big and strong. Wayne Simmons, please. Well,
Granlund was on that same day, and Granlund for the first part of his career here wasn't good. Like, he was wasn't good is probably a stretch. He was nothing like what we see right now.
Underwhelming.
Yes.
Well, he was not what he had been in Minnesota, and he was certainly not what he is now. And I think Granlund is probably a good example of, you don't know because players go through ups and downs, but it seems to me like he's a good example of just some players fit some coaches / systems better than others, or just some coaches have a really good feel for certain players and how to use them. Because how else do you explain it?
Yeah, and I think sometimes it's just it's system, and everybody points to that, but it's also, I think, trust, right? Like, it's pretty clear from the moment that John Hines got here, he watched Granlund play. He was like, all right, well, I can trust that guy to take care of things, especially on the other side of the puck. And then offensively, I think that allowed Granlund to take off after that. But, sometimes when you come to a new team and you're not immediately – and think about this too, and people forget about this. Like, when Granlund first got here, like, I'm pretty sure his wife was having a baby, like, that day. Like, it was pretty crazy the time he first got here. So, there's a whole lot of human parts of this that go into it as well. But for whatever reason, like right when John Hines took over, Granlund seemed to take off, and he has not slowed down since then. Liam on the text line says, I give Poyle all the credit in the world for not blowing it all up and starting over. This season has been a ton of fun. I hope they can keep it up. Caleb on the text line says, not sure if you guys have talked about it, but what's the absolute latest on Forsberg? That will determine my opinion on David Poyle. This comes from Caleb on the text line. I do think there are Predators fans that are kind of in wait-and-see mode about David Poyle as to what happens with Philip Forsberg.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair because, look, if he's gone and they don't do anything significant this year and then they don't trade him for assets and then he goes somewhere else, then people are going to be mad at David Poyle all over again. I don't know if they're going to be as mad at David Poyle as they were, again, right around a year ago or for the stretch when it really was going in the wrong direction, but they're going to be mad.
Yeah. Well, and I think there's still a ton of different opinions on Forsberg and what to do with him anyway. Like, there's people in my Twitter mentions last night after Preds Insiders going back and forth with each other. Like, the 8-year deal, should you give it to him or should you not? Should you trade him at the deadline or should you not? Like, I think there's a lot of different opinions on that from Preds fans. Now, I've tried to say this delicately, but I'm not going to be delicate about it much anymore. Like, if you think that the Predators are going to sign Philip Forsberg for anything less than 8 years, I think you're nuts. Like, I could be wrong, and, maybe Philip Forsberg signs a 6-year contract or a 3-year contract or whatever. I think that'd be incredibly stupid on his part to do that. So, like, if you're out there thinking that you're going to sign Philip Forsberg to a 3 or 4 year deal, or I saw a 6-year deal get floated out there last night, like, I just don't think you're living in reality. To me, it's going to be an 8-year deal or it's going to be nothing here with the Predators.
That's 100% because that's the advantage the Preds have. They can offer 8, no one else can, and the money's guaranteed. So that means they can offer more, just by that. So you have to. I mean, if you're going to get into this, then you have to go 8, and then you keep, obviously you're whatever the number is. I think you're right. It's going to be in between 8 and 9. Elliot Friedman has done some reporting on that too. And it has to be 8. And then whatever the number is, you multiply it by 8, and that's the money he's definitely getting. So someone else has to give him that much money in 7 years.
But that's when it's interesting for the Poyle side of this, because there are some people that say, I'm going to be out on David Poyle if he gives Philip Forsberg an 8-year deal. And there are some people that say, I will be out on David Poyle if he doesn't give Philip Forsberg an 8-year deal.
Well, the first people you don't understand what's going on here.
Yeah.
You don't understand how this works. Now, the no movement clause, I don't know about that, but I bet you that's going to go Forsberg's way. That'd be my guess.
It's my guess.
And I think that's where this gets done, is because Poyle comes to them on that. But we'll see. I'm just guessing from outside, man.
Call your shot Tuesday. Nate on the text line says, I understand Poyle isn't getting any younger and he wants to win now, but he needs to stand pat at the deadline. The only move should be signing or trading Forsberg if he doesn't sign before. He got lucky with Granlund, but it probably won't have the same outcome if Forsberg goes to market. He needs to know what he has with this team, so let it ride. The 16-17 Cup run will always come up, but it was an anomaly and is completely different from what's going on now. If Poyle lets Forsberg walk for nothing, he should probably be gone. This is coming from Nate on the text line.
Yeah, it's not an anomaly. I mean, I think the next year proved it wasn't an anomaly. I mean, you can't count on it. It's hard to do, very hard to do. But, and I understand, hey, they were the 16th seed, man. So how would it not be an anomaly? Same team went and won the President's Trophy the next year, good enough to win the whole thing. That team that made the run was good enough. Yeah. It was, they found some things that they'd kind of, and they've been banged up during the regular season a little bit, whatever. I think anomaly is a little bit strong of a term, but I don't necessarily disagree on the standing pat thing, other than a low cost ad. And yes, for sure, there is no way that Forsberg is going to market this summer and you're going to have the Granlund situation. That is 100% guaranteed. Someone will sign Philip Forsberg.
Well, someone will sign him for sure. I just, Friedman was talking last week on DDC, like, if you better be sure if you don't trade him, if you're David Poyle and there's no deal by the deadline, you better be pretty sure that you can sign him. as they continue to have negotiations. Like, to me, though, that's probably not the way the Predators want this to happen. I would imagine the Predators side of things, they want this to be done here in the next couple of weeks.
It's possible, certainly, that you could end up still signing him, but that's got to be that deadline has got to be like in red letters right now in that office. Like, get it done before the trading deadline.
Let's quickly go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Ryan from Nashville. Ryan, what's going on?
Hey, guys. For Forsberg, first of all, it needs to be an eight-year, $8 million, and a limited no trade, a limited no movement. That would get the deal done probably with him. He's not going to get more than 9. Some fans want him to get because he's not getting more than Yossi. And I would like Poyle at the trade deadline, not to blow it up, but to look at, like, trading something. He's maybe trying to talk to the Islanders, see if Char would be available for trade or if Kyle Palmieri would be available for trade. So I think, Char would be a better fit. I like Harper, but he'd be a better fit for the playoffs than Harper would be. And Palmieri is a guy Hines liked when he was at Jersey, and he'd fit the system. And he knows the system would fit probably right in and slot either on the second line with Johansson, or he could slot him on the fourth line with McCarron and whoever else he wants to throw down there.
Hey, thanks for the call, Ryan. We appreciate it. The $8 million part of it, I think Forsberg will get more than 8. I think you're talking 8.5, somewhere around there. I don't think he gets more than Yossi. And I think if you're Forsberg, you need to be realistic about that too, right? Like, I don't think you're getting more than Roman Yossi here. And that's when the 8-year deal part of it could come in handy for the Predators. Because if it's
exactly,
it's $68 million. Let's say it's an 8-year, $8.5 million contract. That's $68 million. Well, if you go to market and you're getting a 7-year deal, the max deal that another team can offer you, at that point they've got to offer you, $10 million a year to get to 70.
Right.
So the cap hit is much different for teams there too.
That's why for anybody saying at this point, for anybody saying less than 8, in NHL contracts, you total it up, multiply the years by the number, and that's how much money they're getting.
Yeah.
So Philip Forsberg, now you gotta go to 10 to beat that. That's why the 8-year thing is such an advantage for the Preds, and they should take advantage of it.
When we come back, we'll be joined by John Glennon from SI.com and NHL.com. We'll get his thoughts on the Titans as they prepare for the Combine, get his thoughts on the Forsberg situation for the Preds as well. That's next. This is Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
The voice of reason.
Now, you may say, well, a quarterback is more important than a running back. That's fine. You can say whatever you want.
The voice of the fan.
Even if we have to develop him while he's playing, I just want a boring first-round pick.
The voice of Nashville sports is your home of Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Time for the Preds Report.
Presented by Newton Nissan.
The Nashville Predators have a workout scheduled for later this morning in Nashville, then a 1 o'clock departure this afternoon for their second trip to Seattle to take on the Kraken. That game will be on Wednesday night. Predators coming off a busy and exciting week, including their comeback victory over the Florida Panthers, then their successful retirement of Pekka Rinne's jersey number 35 on Thursday night, and then the Stadium Series game against the two-time defending Stanley Cup champion, Tampa Bay Lightning. Lightning prevailed in that one by a final of 3-2. So the Predators begin a stretch of 2 games in 4 days over the course of this trip. Tomorrow night in Seattle, Saturday night in San Jose. Pre-game show coverage coming up tomorrow at 8 o'clock, the game at 9.
All the best car deals in Smashville start at Newton Nissan. Visit them at Newton Nissan of Gallatin or Newton Nissan South in Shelbyville.
This is Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
Mid-State Sports League spring registration is now open. Adults can register for softball, sand volleyball, soccer, kickball, flag football, and basketball. With the largest leagues in Nashville, there's a league for everyone. For more information about youth or adult sports, visit midstatesports.com.
Zines First is the official sign company for 102.5 The Game. Go to sfnash.com.
When it matters, companies need more than just a delivery service. Cintas delivers full service and the reliability that comes with having a dedicated Cintas service rep who understands your business, which means they deliver confidence and peace of mind too. For uniforms, cleaning essentials, mats, first aid and safety supplies, and fire protection services, discover the personal attention you get with Cintas.
Oh, I'm ready.
Visit Cintas.com and get ready for the workday.
You're gearing up to get back out on the field, so you ordered ball game essentials like a new glove, cleats, and a jumbo pack of sunflower seeds. And you used your Bank of America customized cash rewards credit card, choosing to earn 3% cash back on online shopping, which could increase to 5.25% as a preferred rewards member. Rewards that you put toward the cost of an essential piece of your post-game recovery. A heating pad. Apply for yours at bankofamerica.com/more rewarding. Copyright 2021 Bank of America Corporation.
Do you want the best for your car? Then fill up with premium at Circle K. Circle K Premium is our best fuel with double the cleaning detergent, protecting your engine from corrosion and damage so it can work at its best. And that, my friend, increases your mileage for more cha-ching in your pocket. Plus, when you fill up with premium at Circle K, you can save up to 20 cents per gallon. Offer valid Thursdays or Fridays at participating stores. For details, visit CircleK.com. Circle K. How convenient.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, broadcasting 97.5 Murfreesboro, 106.3 Williamson County,
ESPN
102.5 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
a Cromwell media station.
It's Robby and Rexrode with Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, hour number 3 of Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game, brought to you by Little Guys Movers. Here's your chance to be your own boss. Join their team of 30-plus years of profits and good times. Visit littleguysfranchise.com. Robby Stanley alongside Joe Rexrode and Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Tuesday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. We go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in John Glennon, who covers the Titans for SI.com, covers the Preds for NHL.com as well. John, what's going on? How are we doing?
I'm doing well. How are you all doing this morning?
We are great. It was a pleasure to watch John singing along to Dierks Bentley and Miranda Lambert the other night in the press box. Good stuff, Johnny.
You know, it's not often a chance I get to put those vocal talents on display, but I felt it necessary to jump right in there. So, yes, it was a big night. Quite
Rexrode?
spectacle on the ice and in the press box.
That's right. Rexrode, do you think we could get a Teresa Walker, John Glennon combo concert?
That could be a good duet. Yeah. I'm sure it was somewhat reminiscent of, back in the day at UVA, singing the fight song, wearing your little tie to the football game. I'm sure it was
only
much
for
like
the
that.
first home game, Joe. Only for the first home game does the tie get on. After that, it's casual.
That's right.
Whatever. It's business cash after that.
That's what happens.
Exactly.
It's classy up there. It's what we do. So, John, lots to get into with you here today. Let's start on the Titans front. We were talking about this earlier in the show. If you're J-Rob, Mike Vrabel, and the Titans, how much are you considering drafting a quarterback in the first round, given all the other needs that you have on this football team?
A quarterback in the first round,
Yes.
I would say dubious, I think, right now. I know that's going to be certainly a need shortly, but I think there are more pressing needs. I think you've committed to Ryan Tannehill as far as next year financially. And I also think, this is not the best year, to be looking quarterback in the first round either. I think even more needy teams than the Titans at quarterback are going to come up empty just because there's not the talent that we usually see there. So I see that as being that would be a real surprise to me if they went quarterback. I'm still thinking, top priority for me, if you can't find a way to bring back Harold Landry, whether it's a tag or a contract, I think, you need an edge rusher. I think wide receiver, whether or not Julio Jones comes back, I think you're going to need someone there. Depending on what happens to the O-line, I think that's a big priority too. So maybe those are the kind of the three spots that I would lean to right now as far as the first round.
Yeah, I would agree, John. I'd be surprised too. It's not, you're in a position where you should be looking to get better around the QB that everybody dislikes now in town. But I guess like your point about, it's not a great QB draft. All it takes to me is like, if there's one guy among that group that as you go through the process, which I do think the Titans should be doing their due diligence on, and you're just like, holy crap, this is the guy, whoever it may be. And you could get him, or you could get him, but just by moving a few spots up. I mean, I guess I would just, I would keep an open mind on that, just because, well, we see this quite often. We see this with Robbie Stanley's Packers, the surprise taking a QB pick
worked out well.
That worked out real well for them. But I guess so from an evaluation standpoint, do you think that just because you're a year closer, and obviously you do have a little bit more shakiness at that position, that you do more work to be sure, or to really vet that position group?
Do you do more work at the quarterback position, you say, or?
Yeah, I mean, do you I guess take that position more seriously this year in terms of, like a year ago, you can't even be thinking about any of those guys.
Right.
There's no way. Now
Right,
I wonder if at least year.
Yeah, I think if there's an absolute lock, you can't ignore that. But I also think, the Titans are still a team, clearly by virtue of what they've done the last couple of years. They're one of the better teams in the AFC. I think they're still in that, the window to win, if you will, that they've got. They're probably, 2-3 good players away from, maybe making a run at the whole deal if they can get it right. And to me, if you're in that kind of a situation, I know quarterback is all important and you're going to need it at some point in the future, but first round to me is still an area where you can address more specific needs that are going to help immediately, to help next year if you're still in that window to win. Again, quarterback is the most important position on the field, so if you absolutely feel like a lock is there, I guess you can't pass, but to me, if you've only got 2 or 3 big holes to fill, quarterback becomes secondary to me at that point.
John Glennon on the line with us, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. And John, we were kind of batting this around the last segment too about Philip Forsberg and what to do if you're David Poile. Obviously, you were there for the Ryan Suter situation. You've seen a lot of trade deadlines come and go for this Predators team. If they don't have Forsberg locked up by the deadline, we think at that point they'll still probably be a playoff team. What are you doing if you're David Poile when it comes to that?
You mean Forsberg wasn't already traded? I thought a week ago at this time we'd already had Forsberg traded off.
I thought he was too.
Various teams in the NHL. No, it's a tough one. It's a really difficult call because I think ever since that year, where Ryan Suter moved on and Shea Weber nearly moved on. David Poile has been very good about locking guys up before it gets to this point, so that he doesn't have to go into an off season wondering what's going to happen and wondering if he's going to lose his guy for nothing, which if Philip Forsberg isn't signed, by trading deadline, well, that there certainly is that possibility. So I'd hate to be in that position. I think David Poile is going to do everything he can to re-sign Philip Forsberg by then. But boy, I tell you, if he's not signed and you do feel the need to make a move, you talk about, I think, taking a big PR hit. I think there are some people out there that are going to be understanding and they're going to say, okay, he's your best asset. You're not a great team. We need to bring in, more new blood. But I think a lot of people out there, including a lot of Predators fans, are going to say, hey, Philip Forsberg, is as good as we have right now. He's one of the few, recognizable, top-level talents in the league the Preds have, and you're trading this guy when we're in a playoff spot, or we're battling for a playoff spot. Are you crazy? So I'd say it's a really, really difficult call to make. I think David Poile, as I say, he may have to give a little bit in terms of negotiations because I would think he would really want to re-sign him and not move him at the deadline.
What would your number be I mean, for him, and would you give him a no movement?
I think David Poile has been a little bit more relenting these days in terms of giving up a no movement from time to time. He certainly doesn't like to do it. But I think Philip Forsberg's got him over a little bit of a barrel this year. I think we talked about, the fact that he is maybe having his best year or certainly one of his best years in a long time. I mean, he's probably in the 40 to 50 to goal range at this point, and he's a crucial part of a team that's battling for a playoff spot. So, I think you might give him that no movement clause. My accountants are still getting back to me on the numbers. I may have one for you in another week or so. But you got to pay up when you've got a top talent like Philip Forsberg.
It's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out. And by the way, trade deadline not that far away, ladies and gentlemen. The calendar has flipped to March, and here we are. 3 weeks from yesterday was the trade deadline, so not much time to figure this out.
No, and I think what's interesting too, though, is that I think you've got 5 or 6 games before that deadline, and 4 of those games, as I look at it, are against teams that are sort of in that 10 points around Nashville, whether they're maybe 5 points below Nashville, 5 points above Nashville. If you win 3 of those 4 games, it puts you in much better position in the playoff race, and I think you're that much more willing to maybe spend an extra dollar or so for Philip Forsberg. If you lose, say 3 of those 4 games and things are struggling right up until the deadline, maybe at that point you throw up your hands and say, okay, maybe it's time for more significant change.
John Glennon from SI.com, NHL.com, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode. Johnny, great stuff as always, my friend. Thanks for taking time to be with us this morning.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Absolutely. We'll come back. We'll react to what John had to say there. Take your thoughts on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Let me tell you about my friends at FanDuel Sportsbook. Covington versus Masvidal coming up, and the rivalry will be renewed this Saturday night. FanDuel Sportsbook making things even more exciting by offering new customers 30-1 odds on either fighter. That's right, you can win $150 on a $5 bet. Just sign up for FanDuel Sportsbook using promo code ROB. Pick your fighter and get ready to win big. I like Covington in this matchup, but you take it any way you want to take it. Offers like this are why I love betting with FanDuel Sportsbook. It is America's #1 sportsbook for a reason. Take my word for it. It's super quick to get started, and you can withdraw your winnings in a snap as well. So don't miss your chance to cash in on one of the biggest fights of the year. Sign up for FanDuel Sportsbook using promo code ROB today. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. New users only, and $10 first deposit required. Must wager in designated offer market, a max bonus of $150. Bonus for Tennessee users fulfilled in site credit within 72 hours. Tennessee site credit expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Got a gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Every Friday at 8:30 on Robby and Rexrode, we talk with the legend Terry Chris about all things Nashville Predators, presented by Copper Branch on ESPN 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes AutoZone America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Bank of England Mortgage has been helping Americans live the dream of home ownership for over 100 years. Since their humble beginnings in England, Arkansas, they've gone from a community bank to a nationwide mortgage lender. BOE delivers innovative mortgage products with superior customer service and the most knowledgeable loan officers in Nashville. Find your nearest location in Middle Tennessee at BOE1214.com or call 615-823-1215. Bank of England Mortgage is a division of Bank of England Mortgage. Equal housing lender, member FDIC, NMLS 418-481.
The Electronic Express tax refund sale is going on now. Get huge savings in every department, including 4K TVs, mattresses, computers and tablets, housewares, smart home, and more. We have all of your appliance needs in stock and ready to deliver. Plus, buy now, pay later with up to 36 months free financing. Shop in-store or online with free express delivery on most items. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Hey, it's Chase McCabe of Darren, Donick, and Chase. I started my radio career as an intern right here at ESPN 102.5 The Game. Now we're looking for our next great batch of interns. You think that's you? Send your resume to together@cromwellmedia.com to apply today.
Winter's a bad time for your furnace to go out, but it's never a bad time to call Lee Company. Our heating and air conditioning pros are available 24/7. No heat? Don't wait. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000. Our expert technicians will diagnose the issue and fix it right the first time. When you're cold, you need someone you can count on to bring the heat. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
Interact with Robby and Rexrode. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 1025 The Game. Streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. We are live from the Hillside Medical Game Studio here with you on this Tuesday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. Joe Rexrode live from the Combine out in Indianapolis. Going to be a big day out there. Is Dan Campbell Day today, Joe Rexrode, or is that tomorrow?
It's today.
Oh, boy.
So, yeah, very exciting stuff. I will say, got into town and had a dinner reservation with Lions Media, and I was very excited to hear some real in-depth Dan Campbell stories. And then I flopped on my bed and totally missed it. So I totally screwed it up, and I just sat in my room. So that's unfortunate on my part. I actually thought I was going to bring some sweet Dan Campbell stories to the show today, and I didn't, but I will see what I can do today.
Well, I'm sure he will not disappoint later today. Give me some Dan Campbell all day long. I hope he does well. I'd like to see him be the coach of the Lions for a long time.
Yeah, well, the good thing about that is it's not like you have to, win playoff games or anything to keep your job as a Lions coach.
Well, unless you're Jim Caldwell, but yeah.
Well, that's true. Well, he didn't win a playoff game, but yes, Jim Caldwell.
But he's pretty good.
Well, I'm saying you don't have to win playoff games to keep your job. Yes, he should never have been fired. This is true. Probably the best coach of the Lions in my lifetime, right?
Probably
yeah.
So.
I mean, I love a little Wayne Fonts. Don't get me wrong. Wayne Fonts is a good time.
Yeah.
But yeah, probably. So, yeah, Dan Campbell. I mean, look, this is a place for job security relative to other NFL franchises.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about that. What's the Titans schedule looking like? When are J-Rob and Mike Vrabel going to be talking to the media?
So and of course, I got to translate from Eastern to Central. But tomorrow our time, 11:45 and 12:45.
Okay.
Robinson first, Vrabel second. So, and look, more of the to me, this is more of a GM event,
sure,
right? But there's interesting questions about existing players on the roster for Vrabel too, as you look forward to next year. So we'll see what we can all get in. I'm trying to keep a file here of all the things that should be asked tomorrow.
I'm interested to see what sort of clues we may get on the Harold Landry part of things. I mean, obviously, I think that's something the Titans are working on right now, trying to get him signed to a deal. It is interesting. Glennon pointed this out in the last segment. Like, if you can't do it, if you can't get a deal done with him, and you don't want to do the tag, which I guess that's something the Titans could choose to do, is to not want to do the tag, then all of a sudden there's another need for you in the draft. It just, with that in mind, it makes me think that either he's going to be signed to a long-term deal or he's going to be tagged. That's the way I see this playing out. It's difficult for me to imagine Harold Landry not with this group next year.
I agree, but I'm keeping an open mind because I didn't think a year ago that both Jonnu Smith and Corey Davis were going to be let go,
yep.
or that they were going to be okay with both of them walking, and they were. So you do have to make tough choices. I know that some believe there's no salary cap in this league, which would be amazing if that were true.
Would be,
but clearly that was another one of those situations. Like, well, you just don't have the money, and you have to do other things, and so they moved on. Went cheaper with Josh Reynolds. That didn't work out. We know all the stories, but it's just hard for me to believe that they would let Harold Landry walk when that pass rush got to where it got this year. And again, this is where if you start comparing players from different positions, to me, Harold Landry, I like Zach Cunningham a lot, but Harold Landry is so much more important to me to have in your team. And I know he's a lot more expensive too, but I'm just saying, for example, if you're going to sacrifice at inside linebacker, not on the edge.
Going back to the quarterback side of this, I agree with you. Like the open mind part of this, I think you've got to approach it that way if you're the Titans heading into this. I just go back to looking at this team right now. Like to me, if Ryan Tannehill is not going to be your quarterback next year, and look, he still could be. I don't know. Like Ryan Tannehill could come out and play really well this year, and maybe he's still your quarterback as you move forward here. If he's not going to be your quarterback next year, though, like that probably changes your window to win, right? I mean, I would think so. I mean, you've got to start over at the quarterback position. So whether it's this year or next year, you're probably approaching your team a little bit differently if you're John Robinson at that point. Like, are you really going all in with a rookie quarterback? Is that going to be the way you approach things with the rest of your salary? I don't know. Like, maybe it is. But I would assume, like, to me, if I'm J-Rob, I'm kind of putting all my eggs in this year's basket, and if it doesn't work out, you're looking at quarterback and maybe trying to revamp things from there. But, you'd have to me, if I'm J-Rob, I have to absolutely 100% believe that a quarterback is going to be my quarterback for the next 12 years if I'm drafting one in the first round this year.
Yeah. Again, it's only in the case of like, oh my gosh, this is the guy. What can we do to draft this guy? Not, let's get a quarterback. Let's get a quarterback. It's time to get a quarterback. No, it's got to be this specific person. But look, I mean, how quickly do we see rookies, if they're good, be good? We see it very quickly sometimes. A lot of times the top quarterbacks go to bad teams, but I mean, it's a great thing, and we've seen Super Bowl champions come about because teams have quarterbacks on their rookie deals. We also see teams give up incredibly quickly on quarterbacks at times. Everything's been accelerated, so I don't know that. I mean, look, I certainly you're costing yourself a potential difference-making player at another position that could really help you in 2022 if you draft a QB, but I don't know that I would look at it like, oh, so they're starting the window over. I'd look at it like, okay, so they're moving quickly into an area in 23 where they now are investing way less in quarterbacks so they can do more at positions A, B, and C. And they still have some really good players. Now, again, remember, now there's going to also be more money devoted to A.J. Brown and Jeffrey Simmons in the future, but still, the cap's going to go up, and you could still have a really good team. And then you hope that this rookie QB that you draft, which they probably won't and probably won't seriously consider, is really good.
What do you think the cost would be to move up in the draft from 26? Let's say they try to move up to go to 21 because they really love a quarterback that's there. How do you do that without having a second rounder this year? I mean, obviously, future first-round picks would probably be involved. But if I'm a team trading back, especially trading back, going from like 21 to 26, I'm going to want more picks than this year's draft. How do you do that if you're the Titans based on all the other needs that they have?
Yeah, it would help to have a second. Gosh, would you give up? I mean, if I'm on the team at 21 and a team wants to give me 26, they're going to be a first rounder next year? Okay. Would you give that though? Would you trade a first rounder to move up 5 spots?
So maybe 21's a bad example. Let's say they love Kenny Pickett, and they think that whoever's at 11 is going to take Kenny Pickett, and they want to go get Kenny Pickett. Like, how do you do that without a second round pick this year? And how much, I guess, of your draft capital are you willing to expend on a quarterback this year, even if you love him?
Yeah, it's probably that I could see then, and that's and if the team in question, and I don't even know. I'm not looking at the board right now, but yeah, in that range, you're talking about a team that's not very competitive right now, that probably needs a little bit more work. So I mean, getting a first for next year. Sounds great unless you're the team that's going to pick him, but if you don't have anybody that you absolutely covet at that spot, then then yeah, I think that you would make that deal, and it would probably take that and maybe like a third this year or something. I don't know, something like that. But I look at like a Pickett, just as him as an example. And that's the thing too, like Pickett, but probably more than just Pickett. You know how it goes. Like they'll go higher than we think they're going to go right now.
Well, it's been crazy to see the mock draft stuff, because I've seen, like I saw a mock draft where Malik Willis went number 3 overall. And I've seen mock drafts where he's still available when the Titans are picking at 26. Like, it's amazing right now, the range with some of these guys.
Yeah. And he's fascinating because I think he's got the tools. It's hard with Liberty and the competition, all that stuff. And, he's had some bad moments too, turns it over too much, stuff like that. But I just think with his skill set, it's going to be closer to the 3 than the 26.
I would think so too. It's just that kind of highlights, I think, what people think about this draft. Like Kenny Pickett, it's the same thing with him. I've seen Kenny Pickett like number 2 overall, and I've seen Kenny Pickett in the teens. Like it's amazing the range with some of these guys. Now, it's not necessarily unique. Like Mac Jones was all over the place last year too before the draft, and he ends up going, 15 to the Patriots? So, I mean, things can change come draft night, but the quarterback position is always interesting, because the other thing to keep in mind is, like, once that first one gets taken, then it's a domino effect from there, and everybody feels like they got to go get their quarterback at that point.
Yeah. You definitely see runs on positions. Although, again, like if that's how you're looking at it as a team, then you're probably in bad shape, It's like this quarterback crop, it just seems like there's a wide range of opinions. Even on Pickett's probably the surest thing. And like you said, there's still a wide range of opinions on him. And maybe some of those things get crystallized. They will. There'll be some advances in sort of how people view all these guys after this week. But if you're just out there like, we got to get a quarterback, well, then that's how you lose in the NFL.
We'll continue the conversation, take more of your thoughts on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. We'll look up to a big game tonight for Tennessee against Georgia coming up on the other side as well. All that coming up throughout the show here today. Attention men, have you been struggling with erectile dysfunction? Well, Hillside Medical Clinic has a breakthrough treatment for ED that does not require any pills, injections, or surgery. And right now, Andrew joins me from Hillside Medical Clinic to tell us all about it. Andrew, what's going on?
Hello there. That's right, guys. If you're out there a little frustrated in the bedroom, maybe you've got erectile dysfunction or it's just very mild, but you want to improve things, that's what we do at Hillside Medical Clinic with a technology. It's called wave therapy. It delivers very gentle pressure waves into the blood vessels, which causes those blood vessels to open up and expand. Clinically proven to improve circulation enough, we can finally get rid of the ED without the use of pills.
So, Andrew, what kinds of clinical studies have been done on this technology?
Well, that's what's so great is this is not a theory. It is heavily vetted and proven. We have 50 third-party studies posted at hillsidemedicalclinic.com. Colleges, universities, hospitals, they say safe and effective, and even call it the new standard of care for erectile dysfunction.
And, Andrew, you have a special offer if our listeners call in right now.
We do. We really believe in delivering a lot of value. If you're ready to regain your love life, put a stop to the ED, or just improve things in the bedroom, call us right now. We'll set you up with an assessment, exam, and blood flow ultrasound at no charge. And a gift, you'll love this, trust me. It produces immediate results in the bedroom. It's worth hundreds of dollars. Call us now. It's all free.
You heard it, guys. Put a stop to your erectile dysfunction by treating the root cause of the problem. Call Hillside Medical Clinic right now to qualify for that offer at 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Put a stop to your ED and regain your love life. Call Hillside Medical Clinic right now at 615-576-5000.
Want the latest on the Predators from the people that cover them?
Heck of a year so far for the Predators. They've been so much fun to watch.
Join Robby Stanley for Preds Insiders every Monday at 6.
I feel probably as good about this group of 6 on D.
Presented by Dr. Kelly Rice on Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Join Compassion and give hope to a family in extreme poverty. Share your $40 one-time gift when you text the word GIVE to 83393.
Gary Ashton here. I love hearing people say, don't sell without the intel, because it means they're really embracing our message. Now's a great time to sell your home in Nashville, but you need the intel on you the Gary Ashton team can provide. Intel that helps you sell your home without any staging or showings. Intel to find your next home so you can sell your current one while the market's hot. Intel to win the buyer battle and cash in on your home equity now. Let everyone else get the same information and compete for the same properties, while you get the intel edge with the Gary Ashton team, the official real estate team for your Tennessee Titans. And if you're looking for a great career, join our team. We added 65 new agents last year, and we want you to join us this year. Remember, don't sell without the intel. And if you're looking for a great career, the Gary Ashton team wants you in 2022. Call 615-301-1650 or visit GaryAshton.com today.
How can a half-carat diamond magically grow into a 2-carat diamond? With Genesis Diamond's 110% diamond upgrade guarantee.
Our trade-up policy is the best in the United States.
That's Stasia at Genesis, explaining how if you buy a diamond today and want to trade it in for a bigger one next year, Genesis always gives you back your original purchase price plus an extra 10%.
We will gladly give you every single penny you paid for the diamond plus an extra 10%, which is amazing. No one does that.
As a real-life example, take Stasia's customer, Paul.
When he first started, he got a half carat, and then as he became more successful, we rewarded him. He came in and he got a 3/4 carat, and then he's traded for a carat. I'm sure I'll see him this year for a carat and a half. As they grow and change and become more successful, their engagement ring can grow with them also.
And there's no catch, no minimum trade-up requirement, and it works on diamond studs and diamond pendants as well.
You get every single investment dollar you put into the diamond, you will get an extra 10% towards the new diamond.
Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes.
You can trade as many times as you wish.
Continuously voted best jewelry store and best place to buy an engagement ring. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Tonight.
Yes, sir. Tyron Lawrence at second three.
The Commodores start March at home against Florida. Coverage begins at 7 on 93.3 Classic Hits and the Classic Hits app.
Hey, Nashville. This is Penny Hardaway, University of Memphis coach. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game, brought to you by Little Guys Movers. Here's your chance to be your own boss. Join their team of 30-plus years of profits and good times. Visit littleguysfranchise.com. Robby Stanley alongside Joe Rexrode and Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Tuesday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. Charles Robinson from Yahoo Sports going to join us to begin the 9 o'clock hour. Chris Mason coming up at 9:30. Looking ahead to the road trip this week coming up for the Nashville Predators. As always, taking your thoughts on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Joe, Tennessee taking on Georgia tonight. The Vols on the road against the Bulldogs. They'll close out their season coming up on Saturday at home against Arkansas before tournament play begins. I mean, on paper, this is a game that Tennessee should win pretty easily tonight against Georgia, but we have seen Georgia hang in there a couple times this year. They should have beaten Auburn a few weeks ago and then let that one get away from them there at the end. So I guess if you're Tennessee and Rick Barnes, you're concerned about maybe an emotional letdown coming off a big win against Auburn and looking ahead to Arkansas. And as you've pointed out, if Tennessee shoots poorly, they can be beaten by anyone. Having said all that, I think the Vols roll tonight against Georgia.
Yeah, Georgia also beat Alabama. That was also a few weeks ago when things weren't so. It's tough as you lose and it piles up on you to keep competing. It'll be interesting. And look, I mean, Tom Crean, looks like it's probably the end of the road for him at Georgia.
Yeah.
So you have that going on too. They're not devoid of talent, but yeah, this is an important game for the Vols. It is between two huge ones. They certainly want to get Arkansas back this weekend. They just got, to me, the win of the year over Auburn. I mean, Kentucky's a close second, but Auburn would be, Auburn, Arizona, then Kentucky would be the third probably biggest win of the year for the Vols. But still, that's not bad, Cats.
You good, Joe? You good over there?
I'm fine. We're good. I didn't say anything about Rupp.
This is my favorite version of Joe.
But you gotta take care of business. You gotta take care of business. You want to stay on that 3 line. Yeah, you want to stay alive too. You want to stay alive for an SEC banner. I mean, if Mississippi State can somehow pull off a shocker on Auburn, you are now in play to get a share of the SEC championship, which would be a major deal. And there aren't many of those in Tennessee basketball history. And of course, you want to be in the best possible position for next week in Tampa, which for what could be a great SEC tournament. But the 3 line is really important. If you're on the 4 line, and that sets you up, to have to play well on Arizona again. Baylor, Baylor last night looked really good at Texas. Like that's a team with championship DNA. Gonzaga, the Gonzaga team that you guys told me had no chance of losing to St. Mary's. But you'd rather, you'd rather be looking at right now Auburn and Kentucky are both 2s, and you beat them both. Like the 3 seed is a worthwhile pursuit for sure. So right now, I think they're solidly on that line. But if you lose to a Georgia, that can change.
I'm interested to see. You brought up the bigs yesterday with Mike Wilson. I'm interested to see how they continue to use those guys. Adu's minutes went down the other day against Auburn, but I still think the rim protection that he's brought to the table since he's come into the lineup on a more frequent basis could be a big weapon for them come down the stretch. Obviously, you're more worried about other matchups there than you are with Georgia, and this could be a game where maybe Fulkerson has a big role as well. But I'm interested to see how Adu continues to develop, because to me, when he's on and when he's defending the way we saw him defend, that Kentucky game I thought was pretty darn good from him. If that's going to be the way he plays for this team coming down the stretch, that could be a pretty big difference maker.
Well, I feel like Adu's been great for Brandon Huntley-Hatfield.
Yep.
I think he's pushed him. It's like he's about to take your minutes, man. So Huntley-Hatfield responded last game, 8 rebounds. That's big for the big tip dunk. He hits that 3, and you're not going to count on that. But Huntley-Hatfield has been ahead of him all year, has a little bit more offensive game right now. Now, granted, he's been ahead of him also because of all the ailments that Adu had early in the year. So that kind of feels to me like, earn your minutes, freshman. Which of these freshmen is going to earn their minutes? And like you said, some of it is matchup. I think both of them can have a role. And Adu certainly is more of the rim protector of the 2.
Yep.
And it's a great thing. The way Tennessee pressures and plays on defense very aggressively, they funneled everything to Yves Pons the last couple of years. And, to have someone like that who's playing 15, 20 minutes would be really helpful for them.
I can't get over the headline that I'm seeing on ESPN right now on Get Up. It says, quote, Kenny Pickett's hand size to be measured at NFL Combine this morning, expected to have the smallest hands of any current NFL QB. It's hand size season, Joe. Here we go.
Oh, my God. Oh, the hand size. Yes, it's just what a week. What a week.
And you get to walk around and witness all that in person.
Yeah, no, it's really exciting. Really exciting stuff. Hands. That's one of those that I swear that's in the last 5 to 7 years, right? I don't remember that ever coming up. It used to be the Wonder Lick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Got to have the proper hand size.
Yeah. So if you have huge mitts, you can be a complete idiot who, doesn't know not to throw to the other team. But if you have huge mitts, that's great. And if you have small hands, I don't know, Kenny.
Got Vandy taking on Florida tonight at home. An opportunity tonight for Vanderbilt against the Gators, who have been up and down this year. What do you think of Vanderbilt in this matchup against Florida?
Yeah, it's Florida's right there. Florida is battling. Now, Florida really Vanderbilt has been in almost every game in the SEC. Florida would be one exception. They really took it to Vanderbilt. And I'm trying to see where Florida is. They're trying to get themselves to the bubble. They're probably on the wrong side of the bubble right now, but they're not too far away. So, if you're Florida, you have to win this game. This is Vanderbilt's last home game. And I think it's it's right now. Vanderbilt is fighting to me for an NIT bid. To me, you got to be over 500, to be in there. So how do you do that? Are they going to win both games this week? They go to Ole Miss this weekend. That's certainly a winnable game. But, if they win tonight, now I really like their NIT chances. I think that they could make it they could be 16-14 going to the SC tournament. You win one game there, and I think you're in good shape. I think you're gonna get to the NIT. So it's critical for both teams. But Florida on that NCAA bubble, like you absolutely cannot lose this game tonight.
Let's go to the text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Mark from Paris texting in says, I really believe if Pickett is there and the Titans pick him, I'd take him. For what he saw, he's the real deal. This is coming from Mark from Paris. Big fan of Kenny Pickett. Maybe Mark, a big fan of the fake slide.
The fake slide was, I'm sorry, but it's
pretty awesome.
Mark, well, if you say if he's there, like at 26, he's not going to be there. He's not going to be there at 26. Yeah. If he is, then I need to know all the things. Like, do we have a gas mask
hand size
situation? Yeah. Were his tiny hands holding his gas mask full of weed that we got leaked on the internet as soon as the draft started? Like,
shout out to Larry Tunzel. That was amazing.
Scraping the resin out of the bong with his tiny little fingers.
By the way, Mel Kiper Jr.'s mock draft has come out. He has the Titans selecting Jahan Dotson at 26.
Yep.
Then 2 picks later, Jameson Williams going to the Packers at 28.
Oh, you'd love that.
Sure would.
Dotson, Olave, Williams, all of them very intriguing. You got to figure out exactly what fits you best. I just think the pure speed factor with Jameson Williams is hard to deny, but Dotson also very fast.
I got a texter that says the Titans will be pushing P if we pick Williams, the wide receiver from Alabama. We're never going to escape pushing P here on the program.
I got shunned pretty much for not knowing what that meant.
Well, then we'd all been screwed because I had no clue what that was.
All my friends were like, are you kidding me, Michelle? Have you been living under a rock? They're like, you're kidding.
Because you hang out with old people.
Yeah,
I hang out with you guys. So
your friends are also your friends were also at the bar the other night. Like, wait, why are you talking to that old dude?
Which, for clarification,
it was a work thing and Rexrode was there. Yeah. I wasn't talking to some old dude.
Well, I'm talking about me.
Well, Joe, we know the joke, but we're also talking on the radio right now where nobody has any idea what you're talking about.
I suppose you're right. The way I phrased that could be taken a different way. I apologize.
Thank you, Joe.
Why are you making out with that old dude over there?
Oh, boy. Well,
all right.
When we come back, I love our friend Jared Stillman, but there's one take of his that he has that I think is just so absurdly stupid. We'll get to that coming up on the other side. This is Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Sunshine continuing all day long, and it's going to help pump temperatures back to the middle and upper 60s with 70s in store for the rest of the week.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today. Hey Nashville, it's Jared, and there's a new go-to for home furnishing. Social Furniture on the West Side is independently home-owned furniture store in Nashville. Forget the big box store. Shop local, shop social. They have all the best brand mattresses, sofas, recliners, love seats, sectionals, coffee tables, and more with no waiting. They will deliver it the same day. That's with everything at Social Furniture. Enjoy new furniture now with no waiting. Shop local, shop social. 5412 Charlotte Avenue near White Bridge Road, and tell them Jared Stillman sent you.
Harmon Energy is your one-stop petroleum solution across all of Tennessee, offering turnkey petroleum solutions for professionals in major industries, serving trucking fleets, construction companies, industrial plants, and more. Whether a large corporation or owner-operator, Harmon Energy has your diesel fuel, lubricant, DEF, and equipment needs. No matter how you're getting there, start with Parman. Visit ParmanEnergy.com for more info. Your Tennessee petroleum solution, providing totally outrageous customer service.
The minute you lay your eyes on the all-new Toyota Tundra Capstone, you'll know it was made to make a statement. With its 22-inch dark chrome alloy wheels made for turning heads, carefully crafted two-tone leather trim seats made for pulling up in style, 12-speaker JBL premium audio made for turning up, plus power running boards made for stepping out on the town. The all-new Tundra Capstone, made to make a statement. Toyota, let's go places. JBL is a registered trademark of Harman International Industries, Inc.
This is a metaphor for your business's journey. Sometimes it feels like the course keeps changing right before your eyes. And in order to maneuver it, you need an expert by your side. That's what Dell Technologies advisors do. They have the Windows PC and tech solutions you need to help you get out in front and stay ahead of the game. Call an advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL. A start to a simpler experience with Windows 11 Pro. This is a metaphor for your business's journey. Sometimes it feels like you're going 100 miles an hour, barely keeping up. But to cruise through challenges, you need someone who's right there with you. That's what Dell Technologies advisors do. They have the Windows PCs and tech advice you need to get past whatever's in front of you and get where you want to go. Call an advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL. A start to a simpler experience with Windows 11 Pro.
A show that doesn't pull any punches.
And they win a playoff game and they get to the divisional round and he doesn't give up a sack the rest of the year. I don't give two poops. I'm done.
And has an opinion on everything.
That ref crew that was just terrible. Threw flags on almost every possession.
Jared Stillman hosts Stillman and Company.
Tough guy. He's a really tough guy.
Weekday afternoons from 2 to 6. Delivered by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is Robby and Rexrode on ESPN 1025 The Game.
When the Preds have a weekday game this season, it's your chance to participate in Preds Pick to Click, brought to you by New Amsterdam Vodka. If you guess a Preds player that scores a goal in the game that night, you win a pair of tickets to a future Preds home game. Your next chance to participate is tomorrow morning at 8:45. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 1025 The Game. We'll be joined by Charles Robinson from Yahoo Sports coming up at 9 o'clock. We'll get his thoughts on all things NFL. Chris Mason, Preds TV analyst at 9:30 as well. So, Joe, our friend Jared Stillman, who we talk about a lot here on our show, according to him, sometimes 60% here on the show is content made out of Jared Stillman.
That's on average.
That's on average. Sometimes I hesitate to do this, and even last night, I tweeted about this to a certain degree yesterday, and even some of the replies that I got last night are people just taking things too far. I feel like we almost need to put disclaimers out there. I love Jared. Joe loves Jared. We are very fond of Jared Stillman. Sometimes he says some things that are pretty dumb, and sometimes he deserves to be called out on those things. And look, this is perhaps my favorite. There's a lot of Jared Stillman takes that I like. I think this one is my favorite one, and it's come up sporadically over the course of the past few months. I saw it a few weeks ago. This was a tweet on February the 19th. It says, quote, "I find John Calipari so much more likable than I used to. Maybe it's because he wears a suit still, unlike these other coaches that dress like it's the JV game." This was a tweet from Jared Stillman a few weeks ago on February the 19th. I'm driving around yesterday, going out running a few errands, and somehow this comes back up. I don't know exactly how they got on this subject, but the idea of college basketball coaches not wearing suits on the sideline apparently just drives Jared nuts. And he sees the pullovers and the quarter zips out there and basically takes it as a personal affront to the world of coaching out there that these coaches are no longer wearing suits. And it's hilarious because Jared is still a relatively young guy. He's in his early 30s, doing really well for himself. He's got some style every now and then. I like Jared, I like the way he dresses, as Joe raises his eyebrows on Jared and style. But this is perhaps the most old man yelling at a cloud take that I think he has ever had in terms of college basketball coaches not wearing suits and wearing quarter zips. It makes Jared sound like a 75-year-old man. It's my favorite take of his that he has, and I love it. It really bothers Jared that college basketball coaches don't wear suits on the sideline. Joe, are you upset in college basketball that the tradition is gone and that the suits seem to be a thing of the past in college basketball?
Well, why do they need to wear suits and coaches of other sports don't? It's just an interesting thing when you think about all the different sports. Like obviously, like football coaches forever they've been. Mike Dickey used to be over there with a nice scarf and a tie. Yeah. And I guess you go way back. George Halas and Lombardi and those guys were. But football coaches forever now, that basically they're wearing a. Belichick Jared's favorite coach of all time wears like a dirty hoodie.
Got out of the YMCA. Yeah.
He dipped it in oil and put it on. Like, I mean, it's the most disgusting thing ever. And he wears it. Oh, Belichick. Yeah. I don't know why. Like, I don't know why the basketball coaches, because they're indoors, I guess. But it's just been a thing they've done. I haven't cared at all. Obviously, this all for people who haven't followed along with these sports fashion trends. You know, you get into COVID and the bubbles, and a lot of coaches are like, okay, let's just, why do we have to make this so formal?
Yeah.
It's interesting that he continues to beat the drum on this.
He's really bothered by it. Nate on the text line says, Jared said the other day that if suits were being worn, there wouldn't be scrums in the handshake line. Now, I did not hear him say this.
He did not.
So I can't comment as to whether or not he said it. But if he said
now
that,
I'm curious. Now I'm curious.
He did not say that. Please tell me he did not say that.
I am just reporting to you what Nate has told me on the text line.
If Juwan Howard had a nice turtleneck on, it would have been a hug instead of a smack. He didn't say that. No, he didn't say that. Please tell me, Jared, that you did not say that.
Jared, text in right now and let us know.
Yeah, you better defend yourself if you actually said that, Jared. By the way, if this is now the standard by which Jared judges coaches, he should be a huge Jerry Stackhouse fan.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Stackhouse's suit game, and that's the thing.
It's strong.
Well, if there's a coach who relishes this and really gets into it and knocks it out of the park, I say keep wearing the suits.
Yeah, man.
The Stackhouse's suit game, and you never know what you're going to get. And
it's fire.
He's not afraid to take some chances, too. So that's great. He likes doing it. Hey, to me, wear whatever you want. I mean, again, here and there, you'll randomly see a football coach do something other than the quarter zip or the whatever, like whatever they're all wearing on the sideline. I don't really care. You know, the NBA, I'm trying to think, is the NBA mostly still – no, a lot of those guys aren't wearing suits now anymore either, right?
Yeah.
Am I right?
Quarter zips usually.
It's a lot of quarter zips.
Quarter zips, yeah. Okay.
Golf pants.
I mean, it's just weird. What about like women's? I do feel like women's basketball, I'm still seeing most women's basketball coaches wearing like suits.
Yeah.
Am I right about that?
Shay Ralph is
Well,
casual.
Shay Ralph doesn't though. Yeah, she's wearing like a quarter zip. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you're right though. It's fantastic that he's grabbed onto this as like a big issue in sports. You know?
Well, my question for him is, like, Bruce Pearl at Tennessee wore a suit. Mm-hmm. It was bright orange. Like, is that acceptable? Like, are you okay with the team colored suits, or does it have to be like you're showing up to a tax meeting somewhere with your formalized suits? Like, where do we draw the line, I guess, is my question.
Yeah, like do you need really boring suits, or do you like some creativity with the suits? You know, vest or no vest, Jared? You know, like, is that okay?
I wonder if you like the Rick Pitino, like all white with the candy cane striped tie.
It's quite the look.
Like he's Colonel Sanders or something.
Some suspenders in there.
Mark texting in says, how does Jared know? He doesn't watch college basketball. He only watches the Titans and the Preds, right? It's coming from Mark from Paris on the text line. Jared watches some college basketball.
Yeah. I mean, he basically complains about anybody ever talking about college basketball, and then he complains about things in college basketball that means that he watches college basketball.
Ryan from Chicago texting in says, Phil Jackson won 13 rings, tripping on acid half the time. He was wearing a suit, though. He was wearing a suit.
You know, just because Phil Jackson was a hippie way back in the day, I don't think he was actively on acid on the sidelines.
Maybe elsewhere, but not the sidelines.
Yeah, that triangle offense it's very creative, though.
Nate texting back in said, he said it, Joe. He said that because the guy that used to throw chairs wore a sweater. That's coming from Nate on the text line. So
he's talking about Bobby Knight throwing the chair against Purdue in 1985. So had Bobby Knight stuffed himself into a suit, he would have been a totally different guy.
Yeah.
I don't believe.
I'm hoping this is true. I need to find the audio of it. I will withhold judgment until I hear it for myself. But if that's true, we need to find this. That'd be good stuff.
So there's got to be a way to tie this to John Hines being fired, right?
John Hines wears suits every game. What are you talking about?
He does. So maybe is that the only thing that's saving him from being fired? Per Jared? Maybe it is. I don't know. We may have stumbled upon an even dumber take than the John Hines take from last week. No way. But then again, I guess it is like a minefield with Jared, right? If you're going to start dipping in on his takes, I mean, you got to start dancing around. Look very carefully on the ground underneath you.
But see, this is why I hesitate, because people take it too far when it comes to Jared. Jared's a very good guy. We love his takes here on the show. Sometimes they're just very funny to me. And this is one of them. This is my favorite one.
It's a great one. And by the way, Jared, if anybody ever asks you again for a cameo, you better be in a suit.
Yeah, no question about it.
Hey, but he likes John Calipari, so.
Yeah.
Don't we all?
Yeah, real great.
We all do. We all do.
When we come back, we'll be joined by Charles Robinson from Yahoo Sports. We'll get his thoughts on all things NFL. That's next. This is Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
The MTSU Blue Raiders live here.
Touchdown, Middle Tennessee! 3-ball, yes, sir!
And when you're in the borough, tune us in on 97.5.
In the end zone, caught, touchdown!
We are Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
The calendar flips to March. This is the Commodore Report. I'm Kevin Ingram. A busy Tuesday on campus as the new month begins. Vanderbilt men's basketball plays its final home game of the season tonight against Florida. The Commodores still in the mix for an opening round bye in next week's SEC tournament. An amazing run of late for league scoring leader Scottie Pippen Jr. Now over 20 points per game after 32 at Mississippi State Saturday. Says he's learned more about being a leader this season.
I think we're an older group this year. We had me, Jordan, Q, Liam, Rodney. Last year, we didn't really win those close games or even compete a lot of those games. But, I think we've taken a step every year I've been here.
Pippen is one of two players to rank in the top 10 in the SEC in scoring, assist, and in field goal percentage. It is a blackout game with Vanderbilt trying to gain the split with the Gators. Pre-game at 7 o'clock, tip-off 7:30 on the Vanderbilt Sports Network from Learfield. Baseball this afternoon with Scottie Pippen Sr.'s alma mater the opponent as the Vandy boys host Central Arkansas. 4:30 first pitch. The Commodores have won 4 in a row. Vanderbilt women's basketball plays Texas A&M tomorrow in the SEC tournament. Sasha Washington is the league's freshman of the week with back-to-back double-doubles against Florida and Alabama. Early game tomorrow at 11 a.m. And men's golf playing at the Collegiate Invitational in Cabo. It's all right by me, sitting fifth after 2 rounds, 5 strokes in back of the leaders. Individually, Gordon Sargent is tied for second, only 2 back with -8. That's the Commodore Report on 102.5 The Game and ESPN 94.9.
My crusade for the perfect pizza crust has led me here, pining over a backyard wood-fired oven. But how do I bake this build into my budget? Where can I get some solid guidance on my finances? Who can help me understand if I have the dough for this?
A little financial advice. At Regions, we know that's important because your Life Green checking account comes with Greenprint, financial planning with a banker who will help you create a personal budget and live in the moment. Make your appointment at regions.com/greenprint. Regions Bank, member FDIC.
It's the official Bud Light Preds watch party as your Nashville Predators take on the Seattle Kraken Wednesday night. Puck drops at 9 p.m., but the party starts at 8:30 with all kinds of specials. See you at Headquarters Beercade downtown Nashville on 2nd Avenue. Go Preds!
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUZ HD2 Laverne, with Stillman and Company.
Surprise, surprise! I write down what was good, what was bad.
Afternoons from 2 to 6.
on ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
a Cromwell Media Station.
It's Robby and Rexrode with Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexrode on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in. Final hour of Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game, brought to you by Little Guys Movers. Here's your chance to be your own boss. Join their team of 30-plus years of profits and good times. Visit littleguysfranchise.com. Robbie Stanley alongside Joe Rexrode and Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Tuesday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. Scheduled to be joined shortly by Charles Robinson from Yahoo Sports. Joe, is Charles out there with you? Is this a Joe Rexrode and Charles Robinson reunion at the NFL Combine?
Well, yes, but he's not. He actually had to bump his flight to tonight.
Ooh.
So he told me he would be good to do this now. So maybe, I don't know, maybe Charles is mad at us. He's probably listening, mad at us for ripping Jared's suit take.
Is Charles a big suit guy?
I've never seen Charles in a suit. But yeah. I'm sure he's that's not true. That's not true. I mean, what am I talking about? We've been at multiple weddings together, including my wedding.
So you have seen him in a suit.
But only, everybody, right? I think you take weddings out of it, right?
Sure.
Yeah. So other than weddings, I've never seen Charles in a suit.
Let's go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in our friend Charles Robinson from Yahoo
There
Sports.
Is.
Charles, we're discussing fashion here on the program, and Joe said he's seen you in a suit a couple of times. This comes from a college basketball discussion. One of our co-hosts is upset that college basketball coaches no longer wear suits. Are you a big suit guy?
I don't know, Joe. I swear. I mean, I've worn like suit jackets covering things. Like, I mean, what are we talking about? Suit, like suit and tie, like full blown, or
yeah. No, you're not a suit guy.
Yeah, I don't really wear a tie. Like maybe the jacket and everything. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not really.
Yeah, right. I've seen you in a jacket. That's true.
Yeah.
So you were underselling Charles, is what is basically we've gotten to the bottom of here.
He's got some nice jackets.
Okay. Well, that's good to know.
Man, ripping me for not wearing.
Just getting after him immediately. Charles.
No, I'm casual too. It's cool, man.
Charles,
how many people out there running around wearing a suit and tie all the time? I mean, really,
that is a great question.
It's not really a common thing nowadays. I don't think it's not the 50s. It's not mad.
You got a top hat to go along with it, Charles? How's your top hat game?
Mr. Peanut.
That's right. Charles, we appreciate you taking time to join us here today. Looking forward to the Charles Robinson, Joe Rexrode reunion at the NFL Combine as well. That could be special. What are your thoughts on the Kyler Murray situation in Arizona? Obviously, his agent coming out yesterday making some public comments about the contract negotiations and the contract status there for Kyler Murray. What do you make of kind of the offseason that has been for Kyler Murray and what that can mean about his future in Arizona?
I don't think Kyler finished the season healthy last year. Obviously, he had health issues during the season. It's been a pretty consistent deal for him. I think that you have an experienced agent who at times has been very aggressive in how he's tried to pursue, contract extensions for players. He represented Marcus May and got into it with the Jets, and that didn't really go well. This is kind of a somewhat similar situation. But I think the reason why they're pushing so hard is because they're sitting there and they're staring at what just happened with Baker Mayfield. And they're saying, okay, here's this guy that, clearly the organization in Cleveland wanted to sign Baker Mayfield to an extension. I think they thought about doing it at $35 million per. It didn't happen. They decided, hey, let's take one more look at this, and then we'll do it after year 4 and just pay him more if he has the year 4 we expect. Well, obviously Baker runs into injury issues. Everything changes, and now Baker's got to go through year 5 if he hopes to have the contract extension that he's looking for. So I think that part of it is like, hey, he's made a couple of Pro Bowls. He's taken these big steps. He's in line after year 3 to get this extension. But I also think part of it is, they're looking afield at other quarterbacks and saying, like, hey, everything could go wrong in year 4. The apple cart could flip over, and, you could have basically have a coaching staff change. I mean, if they run into a brick wall next season, I think Cliff Kingsbury could be in trouble there. And then, you get a new staff in there. Who knows what the things could look like for Kyler Murray. And if he has a poor year on top of it, it just makes it changes, things dramatically for him. And again, if he gets injured, and he suffered injuries the first couple of seasons too. So, I think it's just risk mitigation. I'm surprised, honestly, that it's been this public and this negative. You don't often see an agent do, kind of what Eric Burkhart did, which is basically put, an organization on blast. But he did leave out the most important thing. What's the number, right? Like, hey, we we proposed the contract, but I'm not going to tell you what that number is. I'm going to call it a market deal for a quarterback. Well, you know what? Some people could think a market deal, especially when they go out to, pursue a new next quarterback contract. I don't know anybody who's had a good quarterback and gone for an extension and not said, hey, we want the top number, So I'm not reporting or saying that they're asking for him to be the highest paid quarterback in the game and thusly the highest paid player in the game. But that's where most, agents with really good quarterbacks who are really young typically go. They go right to the top of the heap and go, okay, let's make it $1 more than what Patrick Mahomes is making.
Well, let's go to some younger quarterbacks, or I'm sorry, some older quarterbacks, much older quarterbacks at one event. Charles,
is he wearing a suit? That's what I need to know, though, first before we get into this.
I mean, I don't know what Aaron Rodgers is doing. He's hopefully wearing like a plastic thing so when he pukes up on his
Punch of Karma cleanse.
His cleanse, a big bib.
Lord, man.
But I'm so annoyed with him and everything. Like, just tell us on McAfee. Just come on. So what's your read on that? Also, apparently Russell Wilson put a picture of his family like on Instagram or something, and so now he hates the Seahawks. I don't know. Like, what's up with those two? And also, let's throw Carson Wentz in there too. Why not? Let's make it a trifecta.
So Rodgers, look, all I can say for Rodgers is that you have to view what the Packers are doing through the prism of what Rodgers has said down the stretch of the season, which is, hey, I'm talking to the front office. Things are good. It's better. I feel heard. Yada, yada, yada. Like he's done nothing but said positive things about a front office that he did not have positive things to say about. And the Packers made pretty clear Devontae Adams isn't going anywhere. They're going to franchise tag him if they have to. David Bakhtiari restructures his deal to create some salary cap space. And then what I really think is a big one, Tom Clements comes back to be quarterback coach there. Hard for me to believe that these aren't all moves that the Packers are making, with the idea of like, hey, we're listening to Aaron. Like, we're trying to do things here that are going to make him happy. We just lost Hackett. That was a guy that, Aaron thought a lot of. So let's bring, Tom Clements back in the fold, who Aaron thinks a lot of. And it's hard for me to believe Clements is like, yeah, let me go back to the Packers at this stage of my life. I mean, he could easily retire. Let me go back to the Packers, who are going to be Aaron Rodgers lists, in a few weeks. So it feels like the Packers are doing everything they need to do to keep him, and then it's just going to come down to hammering out a contract. So I feel like it looks like an Aaron Rodgers return there. It's just getting the money where it needs to be, figuring the structure out, and then, that moving forward. I'm with you, though. I don't know why we're dragging this out so long. I'm not sure what the upside of that is, other than Aaron Rodgers having people continue to focus on him and, talk about him and, make him a big, topic of conversation, which he has not shied away from. In fact, this season he made himself more of a topic of conversation than any other time in his career, and appeared to enjoy it. So we're that's the bubble that we're in right now. But again, I think he's going to end up staying. Russell Wilson, I can only tell you, Russ, like, the only way he's getting out of the Seahawks, and maybe this is sort of what we're seeing the beginnings of, from what I was told, is like, they don't want to deal him. They didn't want to deal him last offseason. They could have had a heck of a lot for him. They can have a heck of a lot for him this year, but it's going to come down to, like, how badly does Russ want off the roster? Does he want off, and is he going to push? Like, if he's going to blow it up, then there's a chance Russell Wilson gets dealt. But that's what it's going to take. Like, the Seahawks aren't out there going like, hey, we're actively going to pursue dealing him. But if Russ turns this into, a huge fiasco here, and I don't think, removing some Seahawks stuff from your social media page is going to be enough. Like, I think Russ has got to just straight up say, I want off. I want to go somewhere else. I do not want to be here anymore. It's going to take him airing a little bit to really push Seattle. But teams are going to approach them in this next week, at the Combine. They're going to be, definitely some questions about, hey, what would the trade comp be? Would you ever even think about it? Do you want, can we maybe create a package and see what you think of it? That kind of thing. So maybe that's sort of what we're seeing with him, is where he's like, okay, hey, this is the time to start pushing and see if we can get dealt. Wentz, I mean, where do you deal him? Who wants him? Like, he's someone who illustrated the low points in Philly were repeated in Indianapolis to the point of frustration, obviously, to Frank Reich and ownership there. I think that if they could find an alternative to Carson Wentz, they absolutely would do that. But, A, do you just cut him? B, can you find someone who can, wants to take him in via trade? And then C, like, who's the replacement? That's the biggest thing, is like, who do you replace him with? And they're kind of in the same situation as a multitude of teams that would like to add a player. And I just, I don't know who that is and whether or not they're willing to, to pay the compensation. By the way, you deal for Rodgers, you deal for Russ, there's a contract on the other side of that. So now imagine giving up multiple assets, multiple first-round picks, and then on the other side of it, having to dole out a contract that's going to put them, $40 to $50 million a year. It's really hard for teams to do.
Charles Robinson from Yahoo Sports on the line with us, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Charles, last thing for you here. Joe and I were having this discussion yesterday with Troy Aikman rumored to be getting maybe a $90 million contract broadcasting, Sean Payton getting into the broadcasting world. How much do you think that the money that some of these former players and coaches are making in broadcasting may influence other prominent, especially quarterbacks, as we move forward here in terms of maybe retiring a little bit earlier and going after some of that TV money?
It's definitely influential, and it's pretty interesting because when Drew Brees wrapped his second to last season with the Saints, there was someone inside the Saints that was like, hey, how do we get Drew to take the TV money? We would like to go after Brady. And I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, it's got to be a lot of money. So, like I get it. But it was a really interesting sort of, yeah, right. I'm like, let me help out. I mean, conceptually, though, I was like, huh. I'm like, okay, well, it was, you had someone who sat there and saw a door, for Drew Brees to walk through and make a ton of money and, obviously free them the opportunity then to pursue Tom Brady. It didn't happen, and they weren't going to push it. But I think they saw that TV was something that for certain guys, is a sunset that's going to be very, very lucrative. And, I thought what was interesting for McVay is that you have guys who clearly are in line for a salary bump. Okay, McVay was making $8 to $9 million a season, wins a Super Bowl. He's been to 2 with 2 different quarterbacks. It was clear it was time for Sean McVay to be in that $14, $15 million range of Sean Payton and, the spare few coaches. Well, how do you do that? He's just, hey, I don't know, maybe, I don't know if this is the end or not, or maybe I'll retire. It's like, Amazon TV money. And it's definitely a point now of leverage. I don't know that money is going to be there for many guys. And by the way, Drew Brees is making a heck of a lot less than Romo. For Aikman, for a McVay, Peyton somewhat, there's going to be the big payday there. But I really, truly believe those jobs, there's only a few of them available. So, there's not going to be a ton of guys who could go out and command that kind of, Tony Romo type money, Troy Aikman type of money. There's only so many networks. There's only so much need for an absolute anchor personality in the middle of a booth. Obviously, the big franchises need it. Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football, and then whatever your top tier broadcast is on whatever your weekly lineup is. But the money's, it's pretty bonkers, and I get it. I totally understand why it's attractive because you could double your salary as a coach. You could make comparable money as a player. I keep telling people, Romo, he's going to make way more as a broadcaster than he made as a Dallas Cowboys quarterback.
Oh, way more.
Like, it's gonna be crazy. By the time he's done, I mean, Tony Romo easily could make $400 million. Just in the broadcast booth, depending on how long he wants to do it. So, but let's be honest too, it's pretty good. I don't know that there are a lot of broadcasters that I would put in his category and his ability to not only entertain people but to also inform them during the course of the game. So it'll impact the landscape at times, but there's just a big shakeup right now with Amazon coming in and everybody's sort of competing over the same group of guys. But it's pretty interesting. I don't know. I mean, like, you guys, do you think Tannehill, are you like, oh, Ryan Tannehill totally could be a $20 million a year broadcaster? Like, do you see him like that? I don't see every player like
Probably
that
not.
or every quarterback like that. So
I don't think Breeze. I mean, I think Breeze is like a guy who should be like the fifth broadcast pairing on Fox. Like Romo he's a unicorn of weirdness
right.
and hyperactivity.
Yeah,
and he's good.
And that's exactly right. That's a really good way to put it, because Breeze isn't. He's not. And, just watching him, and now who knows, he can develop a skill set, but just watching him initially, like Tony Romo, as soon as he hit the ground, you were like, whoa, I was blown away. I couldn't believe it, because I was like, man, really? Like, Romo's going to be a good broadcaster? I'm like, I've talked to this guy, like, I get it, but I don't know if he's going to be great. And then when I watched him, like, whoa, okay, wait, now he's totally entertaining. He was doing the whole thing of diagramming play, telling people what the play was before it was called. He makes little jokes, and he was perfect for Nance. But like you said, I don't know how many of those guys I would think could be that. Even McVay, like I thought about McVay, I'm like, man, he's kind of entertaining. I'm like, but is he really going to be funny? Like, is he going to, what exactly does he bring to the table that just goes beyond the smarts? Because a lot of people have the smarts, but don't necessarily have some of the other intangibles that make that big difference.
Charles Robinson from Yahoo Sports, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode. Charles, great stuff as always. Have fun in Indy, and I look forward to seeing both you and Joe in suits walking around. It'll be good stuff.
Yeah, all right. I didn't know it was like a prerequisite, but all right.
Let's dress up for Dan Campbell. It'll be great.
Yes, please do.
So Don Draper over here, like expectations everywhere. All right, I'll catch you guys in the
Yeah.
Thank you, Charles. Appreciate it. Charles Robinson, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode. We'll come back. We'll react to what Charles had to say there. I got some tickets to give away coming up on the other side as well. The all-new Paint the Town Preds Pack presented by Yeehaw Brewing and Old Smoky. Purchase the pack and receive 2 weekend game tickets and 1 weeknight game ticket of your choice, plus receive a Preds car flag, a $25 Yeehaw Brewing Company gift card, and the opportunity to purchase 2022-23 season tickets as well. Visit NashvillePredators.com/paint to secure yours today. Get your Paint the Town Preds Pack today and score your own hat trick, Smashville. We'll be right back right here on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Every Wednesday, it's me, Jerry. Belt and Takeuchi dealer.
Customize your ride at Tent World of Goodlettsville's Customer Appreciation Event, Saturday, March 5th. Check out Tent World's vinyl wrap, paint protection film, automotive alarms, car stereos, remote start, ceramic coating, and much more. Plus Tent World's affordable window tinting. Tent World, 500 South Main Street in Goodlettsville. Join Tent World of Goodlettsville for food, fun, and prizes Saturday, March 5th.
Hey folks, second half of the NBA season is here, and you can turn every Thursday into payday with NBA on TNT on FanDuel Sportsbook. Joe Rexrode here to let you know it doesn't matter if you win or lose. FanDuel's giving all customers $10 back every Thursday in site credit. All you have to do is bet a $10 or more same-game parlay on any NBA on TNT game. Same-game parlays let you combine the money line, the point spread, player props, whatever you want into one wager. Some big ones, Heat, Nets, and then also the Lakers, Clippers. How about a couple things I like? I think I like the Nets at home against the Heat. How about Seth Curry over on the threes, too? There's something I would look at there. Do whatever you want. It's a great way to turn a small bet into a big-time score. And win or lose, you're guaranteed to get $10 added to your account. Get $10 back every Thursday site credit. Win or lose with TNT Thursdays. And if you're new to FanDuel, sign up for promo code Joe102 to make every moment more this NBA season. Promo code Joe102 exclusively on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. You must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Bonus issued is now $1 site credit that expires in 7 days. Max bonus $10. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line, 800-889-9789.
Men, it's the new year, and maybe it's time to do something new for you. If you're sluggish and run down, not sleeping well, have low libido, and just not feeling like you used to, it's possible you have low testosterone. This is Kim for the Tennessee Men's Clinic, and if you feel like this, and you're like most men with low T, we can get you back on track fast. Low T treatments can truly change your life. Most men experience higher energy, better gains in the gym, improved sleep patterns, and better mental clarity. You'll also likely find that your libido is improved, which can have a very positive effect on your sex life. At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we've successfully treated thousands of men for low T. We're experts in these treatment protocols, and we're extremely proud of the results that our patients have experienced. So if you're feeling down and out this new year, it's time to call us. Just $99 gets you a PSA and T test and a medical consult. Call 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments extra, results vary.
If you've missed any of today's show, just search Robby and Rexrode on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. Streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. We are live from the Hillside Medical Games studio on this Tuesday morning. Going to be joined by Chris Mason, Preds TV analyst, coming up here in a few minutes at 9:30. Looking forward to his thoughts on the Predators. Speaking of the Nashville Predators, I got a pair of tickets to give away to see the Preds take on the Anaheim Ducks coming up at Bridgestone Arena on Thursday, March the 10th. Be caller number 5 at 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Caller number 5 will win a pair of tickets to see the Preds take on the Ducks coming up at Bridgestone Arena on Thursday, March the 10th. Nashville Predators regular season tickets to all games are on sale now. More information on Preds tickets can be found going to NashvillePredators.com/tickets. Joe, I think we had Charles flustered in that last segment. I think he's maybe rethinking his attire for the weekend. You'll have to provide updates from Indianapolis.
Yeah, will do. He better bring it now. You know, he's got some time before his flight. Don't be afraid to throw a tie in there, buddy. Some nice slacks. Come on, it's time to step up. I mean, there's really very few better looking, better dressed groups of people than a whole bunch of sports writers.
That's right.
It's you really got to bring your A game around this crew.
There's no question about it. So I thought it was interesting what he had to say about the quarterbacks there. We talked about the Rodgers part of this earlier. Again, stunned is too strong of a word for Aaron Rodgers because I guess you really never know what he's going to do, but I'd be shocked if he's not back with the Packers. I just think everything is pointing that direction. The Russell Wilson part of it may get interesting. The Carson Wentz part of it, to me, is the most interesting quarterback situation out there because the Colts have been pretty vocal about Carson Wentz and the quarterback play, and I just don't know what the answer is going to be if it's not Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson. Who is going to want to take on Carson Wentz? Now, you could just cut him at some point, and that would still hurt a little bit, but the Colts can do that. So that may be the most likely route here, and you just cut Carson Wentz and you get a quarterback after that. But I don't know at this point who is trading for Carson Wentz and what you're giving up to get him.
Right. And then and even if you go the cut route, they got the cap space, to absorb that, be okay. But who's your QB? I mean, if you're take out the top two, take out the two guys, take out the dream scenarios. If you're a Colts fan and it's Wentz or the field, who do you feel better about to try to win the AFC South next year?
That's a great question.
Wentz or the non-Rodgers/Wilson field?
Not throw Watson in there too, but yeah, I mean it's a great question. Yeah. So yeah. I don't know. I mean, everybody keeps coming back to Jimmy G. I feel the exact, and this is me. You may disagree with this. I feel the exact same way about the Colts heading into next season if Carson Wentz is the quarterback, if I do if Jimmy G is the quarterback. There's virtually, to me, no difference in the way I would view the Colts.
It's very close. I might feel a smidge better about Jimmy G, but I mean, I wouldn't – that to me would not put them over the hump relative to the Titans just in terms of what you look like on paper going in. Now, I say that, and the Colts may vastly upgrade themselves at receiver, may get an edge rusher who is ready.
Sure.
We don't know all the offseason moves, and those are certain things. And both of these teams at this point, like most teams in the NFL, are in a position of you got to help your quarterback as much as possible. You got to do as much as possible to give your quarterback protection, weapons, and then also have a good D. So, I mean, I guess the Colts could, in theory, they could look better on paper than the Titans after all these moves are done. But just purely on QB, I mean, the only way, unless they can get one of those guys, which looks very far-fetched, then they're behind the Titans in my mind.
The Preds Foundation Wine Festival and Tasting presented by Deacons New South returns to Bridgestone Arena Friday, March the 11th. You can sample over 285 high-end wines, enjoy delicious culinary creations from local restaurants, and bid in an extensive silent auction as well. Tickets start at $89. Visit NashvillePredators.com/wine for more information. When we come back, we'll be joined by Preds TV analyst, former Preds goaltender Chris Mason. We'll get his thoughts on the week that was for the Predators and look ahead to an important West Coast road trip starting tomorrow in Seattle as well. All that coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Hey, this is Matt Duchene, and this is Smashville.
Running down the left side with Duchene. Duchene scores! Matt Duchene with the overtime winner.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
This is Chef John from Kitchen Notes at the Omni Nashville. Inviting you to come join us for breakfast and lunch. We are offering some exciting new menu items. For breakfast, we have a smoked prime rib hash. Comes with a sunny side up egg, hominy, caramelized onions. It's a great start to your day. We are featuring a sourdough pancake made with a sourdough bread starter. It's a fun spin on the classic buttermilk pancake. As always, Kitchen Notes is serving biscuits all day. Come join us and create a memorable experience here at the Omni Hotel. Food is all about memories for us. We'd like you to start a new memory here at Kitchen Notes in the Omni Hotel.
Breakfast at Kitchen Notes in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
At Genesis Diamonds, it's not just a new year. It's a new opportunity to bring you more choices, more value, more ways to celebrate your love. So we've expanded our selection of exquisite hand-picked diamonds from a half carat to 15 carats, all shapes, all sizes, all at our famous no middleman prices. We've brought in even more exclusive designer jewelry, new cutting-edge fashion-forward rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, and pendants. We have the styles and looks on every woman's wish list, things you can't find anywhere else. And for 2022, Genesis is now offering a truly spectacular collection of luxury pre-owned Rolex timepieces. We have all the most popular styles in stock with no wait list and no restrictions. Is this the year you reward yourself with a premier name and timepieces? Come to Genesis in 2022 and let our non-commissioned experts help you celebrate those important milestones. We guarantee the best value, the highest quality, and the strongest warranties and guarantees in the jewelry industry. Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolex timepieces. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
The Electronic Express tax refund sale is going on now. Get huge savings in every department, including 4K TVs, mattresses, computers and tablets, housewares, smart home, and more. We have all of your appliance needs in stock and ready to deliver. Plus, buy now, pay later with up to 36 months free financing. Shop in-store or online with free express delivery on most items. Electronic Express, we make it happen.
At Copper Branch, they live life to the fullest. Food is your energy and your life. Located in the heart of downtown Nashville, their goal is to serve you, your friends, and family quality, great-tasting, plant-based power foods. Visit Copper Branch at 601 Church Street for breakfast, lunch, and dinner with convenient and validated parking during library hours, and download their app for curbside pickup. Or come out for songwriter and live music nights several times throughout the week to empower, energize, and feel your best. Visit Copper Branch today.
When there's a chance for gold, you need to have the right people in the right positions. That's why when you post a job for free, LinkedIn Jobs taps into a network of over 770 million professionals to find the right people for your role. LinkedIn Jobs helps you narrow down to only the most qualified candidates, which means you can start hiring the right people faster. Go to linkedin.com/sports to post your job for free. That's linkedin.com/sports. Terms and conditions apply.
ESPN's Turon Davenport breaks down the Titans like no other.
On the field chemistry, I don't think it's going to be a problem. It's just going to be a process.
Catch TD Mondays at 11, Thursdays at 3, and Fridays at 8. Plus, the Talking with TD podcast drops every Wednesday.
When you draft players, it's not just for one season, it's for a career.
Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, I'm Gary Smith, head coach of Nashville SC. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 1025 The Game.
Yo, VIP. Let's kick it.
And it is that time of the week here on Robby and Rexrode. Time to go to our 1025 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and bring in Preds TV analyst, former Nashville Predators goaltender Chris Mason, brought to you by Coleman Tractor, Middle Tennessee's leading Kubota dealer. C. Mace, what's going on, brother? How we doing?
Not too much. Just enjoying the nice sunny start to the day here.
It is the weather is quite good here in Nashville this week. We are very thankful for that. So, C. Mace, I've been looking forward to talking to you now for a few days because last week was just such a whirlwind here in Nashville, and I know that your relationship with Pekka Rinne is pretty special as well. What was last week like for you during that part, and specifically as you were watching number 35 being raised to the Raptors? What was that moment like for you?
Well, honestly, I think I have an emotional hangover. It was. I think we all kind of do it from a certain degree, but honestly, I feel it was just it couldn't have went any better. I thought it was amazing. I can't imagine how Pekka feels after this week, but I just thought the tributes were so incredible. I thought the fans' response to all the speeches and his address and everything were just on point. And everybody that I talked to just, had the same thing to say, just, about the person that he is. And, there's nobody else that they would rather have up there, and how he represents, our team and our city. And so I just thought it was perfect. And then Pekka's, opportunity to say goodbye to the fans, just in that sense, and talk about his career. And the next time I'm sure we're going to see him again. But, just to be recognized and to let them know how much they meant to him. So it was perfect. And then, it was awesome. And then you want to go into you go into the other game. That was next level. Absolutely unbelievable. I thought this city, by far, to me, in my opinion, the best that I've ever seen. Just all the things that Nashville has to offer. That was just an unbelievable day. It sucks they lost and took a couple penalties there, but and the power play Tampa's. But man, what an unbelievable spectacle.
Yeah, it was an incredible week, I don't know that it could have. I don't know it could have gone any better relative to expectations. Right? I mean, everything was in place, and then like you said, the Preds lost, Chris, but a 2-for-3 week coming off 4 straight losses. How do you view what they did in total during the week and where they stand now as they kind of get back into normalcy?
Yeah, I mean, you have to, recognize that obviously the game, and what they did, but it's going to be tough to get back to normalcy because that is that's one of those things where it's a playoff, I don't know, just a special event where you just, it's almost separate. Like you're separating yourself. You go into this emotion. First of all, it's Pekka, right? You know how much that meant to the guys that played with him, and the guys that, you hear about this guy and, Tomasino that was around him last year, and, for that. And then to go in to the Stadium Series where everyone had their families in town. This is not just for the team. Obviously, they had to go and get the 2 points. We know about that, but all their families are in town. They got special outfits. This is like one of the, this is like a kid's dream come true. These guys are getting to recognize that dream again on an NHL stage here. And it's emotional. And, I know these guys are professional athletes, but you could just see their faces, the looks on their faces when they're walking out. And they're just wide-eyed. And I remember I was looking at Tanner, and he's looking around, and you're just trying to take it all in. It's just, you can't believe there's that many people, and just, that it's a different sound and the feel in the air when you're outside, and, especially with the fans in the building. It was incredible. Now you know, like you said, Joe, you got to kind of reel it back in and get back to business, so to speak, because you didn't win the game, which absolutely sucks. Aside from everything else being perfect, you didn't win the game, and now you're going into a building that you haven't played in yet, and you know you're playing I guess a lesser team in the standings, and you got to win that one. So I guess it's back to the normalcy of a regular season, because they're about to embark on a grind, that secondhand grind after those Olympic breaks. It's going to be crazy.
Chris Mason on the line with us, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. And see, Mason, I'm glad you brought up Tanner Jeannot, because he gets his 18th of the year the other night. I mean, the way he's playing right now, he may end up scoring 25, 26, 27 goals this year as a rookie. As you've watched him play this year, and as he's continued to grow, what do you think the future looks like for Tanner Jeannot? Because we've talked about how unique of a player he is, and the combination of size and speed and skill and physicality that he brings to the table. But I watched this guy play, and what I learned last week is when the moments get big, the moments are not too big for Tanner Jeannot, and that's a good quality to have as they move forward.
I agree with you, Robbie. I think he embraces it. It's, you know, he's scored so many, time goals, game winners. You know, as you said, like when kind of the moment rises, he rises with it, and he meets the challenge. And I just think this is a guy who's got a deep-rooted belief in himself that has, at every level had to fight against the odds, undrafted, and we know the story, how he's gotten here and how quickly that, he's kind of rose to stardom in a way, with his unique skill set. There's nobody like him. There's few players that, if you want to put Brady Tkachuk into that category of that have the skill and the physicality, and maybe each degree of certain attributes vary with some of those players, but just his sheer intimidation factor and the fact that he can perform at those moments. I mean, that's what this team thrives on. And for him, you look at the identity of what you want your team to be. You want to be fast, you want to be skilled, you want to be tough. Well, he checks all the boxes, and of high character. I mean, this kid checks all the boxes, and to me, I think he's got one more year, but I'm sure when he comes up next year, David Poile's probably he's going to get on that horn the second his availability to extend his contract comes on, and I don't blame him. I'd be doing everything in my power to lock up this kid long term. So we'll see how that plays out. But man, I don't know. I mean, you talk about potential. I guess that's the unknown. But from what I've seen this year, I mean, the sky's the limit in terms of his impact that he can have on the game, and he can be a unique star in this league with his skills.
Would you think there'd be any benefit, Chris, to moving him in the lineup, maybe putting him with Johansson, giving that an extended look?
I think you could, but I guess the only risk you run is, you have a really good thing going with Colton Sissons down there and Yakov Trenin. I guess you risk the run of maybe altering the effectiveness of that line and what they do. I mean, they start hockey games, they play in the defensive zone, they play a lot of important minutes. But, Tomasino's doing he's kind of filling in right there and doing really well with that Johansson line. But it's been talked about. I know that, and I know they've done it at different points of the season. You just have to find the right combination, because it does have that trickle-down effect, I guess, the rest of the lineup. But it's definitely something I know has been talked about and could be, considered in the future given the, the circumstance.
See, Mace, last thing here for you. Obviously, there's a lot of chatter about Philip Forsberg right now. I'm curious, from a player in the locker room, that when you know that one of your teammates has a contract situation coming up and the deadline is right around the corner, like, is that distracting as a teammate? What's that dynamic like in a locker room when you know that there's a big decision coming up, both from the organization side of things and from the player side of things as well?
Honestly, guys don't care. Selfishly, I mean, you hope it gets done. For his sake and then distraction's sake and all that. But they don't really care. There's so much pressure on yourself individually that that is the main focus. So I don't think the guys really care personally. Although you'd like to get it out of the way to stop talking about, I guess. But it doesn't really affect guys. They're so tuned in to winning a hockey game.
Chris Mason, Preds TV analyst, has been our guest here on Robby and Rexrode. Joins us every Tuesday morning at 9:30. Brought to you by Coleman Tractor, Middle Tennessee's leading Kubota dealer. C-Mace, great stuff as always. Thanks for taking time to be with us this morning.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Absolutely. Chris Mason, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode. We'll come back. We'll react a little bit to what C-Mace had to say there. Welcome more of your thoughts on our text line as well, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Let me tell you about my friends at Jasper's as the neighborhood bar and restaurant. To catch the next Preds game, Jasper's is located on West End Avenue and offers a fun atmosphere with a game room, TVs, and a large bar and lounge area as well. Plus, they offer free parking. We know what a big deal that is downtown Nashville on West End, and offer specials for every Preds game day, including $10 smash burgers and $3 bottled domestics. So come on down to Jasper's for the next game day, which is tomorrow, by the way, for happy hour every weekday from 4 to 6 p.m. and 2-for-1 beers all day long on Sundays. Just tell them that Robbie Stanley sent you.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Sunshine continuing all day long, and it's going to help pump temperatures back to the middle and upper 60s with 70s in store for the rest of the week.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Hey guys, it's the new year. Are you still struggling with erectile dysfunction? I've yet to meet anyone that enjoys timing those intimate moments around a pill. Well, now you don't have to. The advanced wave technology at Hillside Medical has been shown by Cambridge University and the Cleveland Clinic to restore and even regrow blood vessels. It can improve circulation and eliminate erectile dysfunction. No pills and no side effects. If you're ready to put a stop to your ED, call us in the next 2 minutes and you'll receive a consultation, assessment, and blood flow ultrasound free. Plus, a special gift that produces immediate results in the bedroom. You're going to love that. Trust me. This is a $600 value, free to callers now. 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Guys, get rid of your ED and get that spark back. Call Hillside Medical now to qualify. 615-576-5000.
O'Reilly. Count on the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts to recommend the best products for your vehicle and budget. Get maximum cooling system performance for 10 years or 300,000 miles with Peak Long Life Universal Premixed Antifreeze and Coolant. Now just $3.99 after mail-in rebate. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Sometimes their glass is half full.
That was unbelievable. It was the best NFL draft they've ever had.
Sometimes glass half empty.
What are we getting ourselves into here? Tough game.
And sometimes it's all about the numbers.
One win, and they've gone on this streak, and now they're at 500.
Hang out with Darren, Donick, and Chase from 10 to 2 during your workday. Presented by Curacion CBD on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Watch live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube.
You're listening to Robby and Rexrode on ESPN 1025 The Game.
But, like, if they wanted to fire him, I wouldn't be against it. I wouldn't get up on my soapbox and be like, that is ridiculous. That dude threw a punch at another coach on TV.
Bad.
I mean, on CBS. I mean, that made CBS. And you know how I feel about the coaches that don't wear suits?
Uh-huh.
Like, I think it declasses the sidelines a little bit.
Yes, you are a very elitist when it comes to what
it's like
coaches wear.
It's like a school dress code. You know what I mean?
I don't think it matters. If you want to wear a quarter zip, go for it, Will Wade. Go for it, Bruce Pearl.
How many, before we stop making the coaches wear suits, how many times we have coaches punching other coaches on the sidelines?
Oh.
How many?
What was Bobby Knight wearing when he threw a chair?
Bobby Knight doesn't wear suits.
He wore a suit.
No, he was a sweater guy. But, please answer my question, witness.
I don't believe any.
Okay.
But I don't think this is a trickle-down effect.
Well, there we have it, Joe Rexrode. Audio confirmation. How many people getting in fights on the sideline when the coaches are wearing suits, Joe? Your response?
You know, Jared brought up Stockholm Syndrome with, like, Tannehill and all the people around here. I mean, poor Caroline. I continue. My thoughts go to Caroline often. Like, you know, you've got to, you know, and she does a very nice professional job of handling those moments rather than, like throwing something at Jared, which would be totally warranted.
Shout out Nate, who told me where the sound was to find it. He was right. He, in fact, was right.
Way to go, Nate. That's a good find. We might have to use that one multiple times.
So let's remember the exact line. How many more fights do we have to have before coaches go back to wearing suits? Is that what he said?
No, he said, how many times did you see coaches and, bench clearing brawls back when all the coaches were wearing suits? Didn't happen very often. So I guess his connection there is people have started fighting more that the coaches aren't wearing suits now. The quarter zip has brought out the violence in people.
Okay, so Jared, he wouldn't double down on this, right? I
don't know.
If you're not in the heat of the moment of just words flying out of your mouth before your brain can tell you to stop letting the words fly out of your mouth, like he wouldn't sit here today and be like, oh yeah, right? There's no way.
I don't know.
Caroline, we need a Joe versus Jared prompt.
This could really be a Jared versus Joe go-to.
Well, I would love for Caroline to include that topic tomorrow, but that would be almost cruel to Jared, wouldn't it be? But does he deserve it? He may deserve it.
By the way, the Nashville Predators in Bridgestone Arena appreciate and recognize military first responders and their families. Your company can help fund tickets for these heroes during Ford Military Week, the week of March the 7th. You can learn more about the Heroes Salute program at NashvillePredators.com/military week. Thanks to C-Mace for joining us in the last segment. I am interested, it was interesting to hear his thoughts on the Forsberg part of this. If you're a player in there, does not a little bit of you, if you're a Matt Duchene or a Ryan Johansson, obviously you're not talking to him about this and hey, dude, when are you going to sign? All that stuff. But isn't a little bit of you curious to see how quickly this either gets resolved? And if it doesn't get resolved by the deadline, isn't that kind of in the back of your mind if you're a Johansson or a Duchene or a Yossi in this conversation?
Yeah, well, of course. And obviously these guys can all relate to each other on these things. Not everybody has this exact situation, but obviously, everybody comes up on these contract situations, the top players, and this team where it is. And as you said earlier on the show, this is another light week. It's Seattle tomorrow, San Jose Saturday, and then you start getting into some heavy duty stuff with Dallas and Anaheim, St. Louis and Minnesota. And so you're going to be in all these huge games. You're going to be barreling toward the trading deadline. And whatever's happening on the ice, the distraction meter is going to be rising through that time period, So, I'm sure, obviously, with those guys, they want the best for Phil. They want him to get the most he can get. And I'm sure they'd also love to see this resolved ASAP so that they can just move on. Because, everybody can talk about, no, you just, compartmentalize things and you just do your job and all that stuff. But, around this time of year when there's uncertainty with a huge player, that can't help but distract a team.
Let's go to our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Nick texting in says, I was a huge Austin Watson fan. I feel like we got a higher scoring Watson in Tanner Jeannot. I agree with that to an extent. I will say, I think, number one, Tanner Jeannot is way more physical than Austin Watson ever was, and I think he's way more skilled than Austin Watson, too. So, yes, to a degree, it's like a big-time Austin Watson. But, Watson was kind of, I don't want to say forced into this role because that's probably not the right way to put it. But Austin Watson was the physical presence and or, the answer when something bad happened out there on the ice for this Predators team for a couple of years because they didn't have anybody else. It was Watson, and I guess if you made Matthias Ekholm mad enough, he would come after you a little bit. But other than that, who were the guys that were answering the bell for the Predators a couple of years ago? Didn't have very many of them. It's a little bit different now. You got Trennan and Jeannot, and heck, we saw Ryan Johansson throw the gloves the other night. It's kind of a mindset of a team, but I think Jeannot is way more physical than Watson was.
Yeah, I think the Watson – so it was Sissons, Benino, Watson. Is that right? That was the line?
Yes.
Yeah, against Colorado, for example, that ended up being, a really important line in that series. And took on their top line. It's a good comparison. He was really good on the penalty kill. He'd get a shorty here and there. I think he had like 3 or 4 shorties one of those years.
He did.
17 and 18, he was, I would say, a poor man's version of what Jeannot is now. But yeah, like the power and the skill don't match up to what this guy is.
How do you kind of refocus after what was an incredibly emotional week? I was talking about this yesterday on Preds Insiders. Like, the week was not easy for the Predators. I know there's a lot going on. It was fun and all these different things. It's not an easy week when you talk about, sitting on the bench for 55 minutes watching Pecorine getting his jersey retirement. You got to go play a game 20 minutes later. Having your families in town. All of it's fun. All of it's great. You'll take it if you're a player. But it's not normal, and it kind of takes you out of your routine. How difficult do you think it is to settle back in here with only 2 games this week, with coming off of what has been a super emotional week for the Predators? I thought it was smart, by the way, of John Hines they didn't practice Sunday, they didn't practice yesterday either. Just kind of get away from it for a little bit, and they'll be practicing again today before they head off to Seattle.
I feel like it actually works out pretty well to have a little bit of time to practice and kind of reset and refocus versus being thrown right into a game, like last night or something, like a day off and then a game. I feel like this practice, refocus, get on the road. You fly out today and, then you start over a little bit. So, doesn't guarantee anything, but hey, there's no excuse for losing in Seattle. So go out, get a win, get back on the winning track. That would make it 3 wins in 4 games. And then you get another extra day in there before the next one. Then you get another couple days off before the next one. And then you better be nice and rested because it is coming fast and furious from there.
Jim on the text line says, Joe, prompt the debate by wearing a suit tomorrow on Jared versus Joe. Maybe you suit up tomorrow for Jared versus Joe. I doubt you packed a suit, but that's okay.
Yeah, I'll be driving back from Indianapolis, so I will not be on camera anyway. But I think I actually do have a nice jacket with me. Maybe I'll wear it just as a – like if the coaches – if they had like really nice tuxedos on the sidelines, would it be the most polite – would they be hugging after the game?
Could be.
Well, it would be like the most tremendous sportsmanship ever if the coaches were dressed to the T with the top hats, with the canes.
Yeah.
Like, imagine that. It would be like it would be utopia of sportsmanship.
I mean, James Bond.
Jared has got his finger on the pulse of something here.
He does. I mean, James Bond dresses pretty nicely. There's some violence involved there. Peaky Blinders, they dress pretty nicely. Some violence involved there too.
The Godfather movies that Michelle and Ryan Porth still need to watch.
There's that too.
Yeah. All right. I guess I get your point there.
Yeah. Joe, NFL Combine today. Dan Campbell coming up later. The Titans are speaking tomorrow. So J-Rob and Mike Vrabel tomorrow at the NFL Combine. What's this day look like for you?
Well, remember, a very important assignment for me.
Oh, I know.
Trent Baalke speaking at noon Central. I will be there to capture every word and transcribe every word for the Pro Football Writers Association. So I will have a better feel for the keen insights he has into building a great team and franchise in the NFL.
Yes. Really, really looking forward to that one. Dan Campbell, Trent Baalke on the same day. How could you ask for anything more at the NFL Combine? Joe, looking forward to your coverage today from the Combine. You can check out Joe's coverage at The Athletic. We'll discuss it more tomorrow on the show as well. Titans talking tomorrow. J-Rob and Mike Vrabel late tomorrow morning, early tomorrow afternoon as well. So looking forward to those conversations. That's going to do it for us today. Joe, have a wonderful time in Indy.
Will do. Talk to you guys tomorrow.
That's right. We'll be back 6 a.m. tomorrow. Darren, Donick, and Chase coming up next. This is ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Weekday mornings from 5 to 9.
Did you see the Tennessee Titans?
He has all the weapons to make it happen.
There's so much to pay attention to. Greeny from 9 to 11.
Ryan Tannehill is the most disrespected player.
Art and Hahn from 11 to 2.
You never stop punching.
They've got to learn how to close the deal.
And the Paul Feinbaum Show after